create a scoring chance. Just be aggressive. Go after it. Make a play. Don't overthink. Thinking hurts the team and the broadcast, David. Just want them to react. Don't overthink.
All right, well, Buffalo made the right adjustments for Game 6. What about Montreal? They did look at some film, specifically looked at some PK and where that went wrong.
Yes, that was one thing. The Sabres pounded them on the power play the other day. But one of the things Martin St. Louis said when he showed the clips was, he said, guys, this is not us. This is not the way we play, and this is not the way we can play if we're going to win Game 7.
All right, well, Buffalo, 8 power play goals, Ron, in their 3 wins, just 1 power play goal in the 3 Montreal wins. So that's a big storyline heading into this decisive Game 7.
Right, the 4 power play goals by the Sabres, David, the other night, incredible. So the lines, the big switch really helped.
Okay, so going into Game 6, Lindy Ruff hinted that he was going to make some changes in the forward lines. And so if you look at the lines from Game 5, this is how for most of the series. And I know, Kev, you're going to talk about the top line, but he juggled everything up, and I thought it was a great move to get some of these guys in different positions. I love the third line. These guys had 6 points last game. Helenius is a really responsible young player that Lindy Ruff trusts him in all situations. And then he's got him with the veteran Zucker, and Quinn had his best game of the series too. So good things for Buffalo with those changes.
I also thought that Tuch was really dangerous, even though he didn't get on the scoreboard really. But that number 1 line was the biggest part or the biggest area where they had dividends pay off. And I think it was Norris's line outplaying whatever line they were on, 10-26 of ice time, 9-0 shots. So, like, how did they do it? Did they do it by being really tight defensively? Well, a little bit, but it was mostly by a good offense. A good offense is the best defense, and they had tons of zone time. They had tons of possession. This is the first shift of the game. Like, what a way when you just have 3 guys put on a new line and you score your first shift of the game. This is the first shift of the second. And this is Benson ending up leading to his goal as well. So when you have a new line go out there and they instantly get you momentum, they instantly make an impact, they have zone time, they get chances, you know, you set up the next line. And the next line goes out there and they follow the lead. And certainly the Norris line was leading the charge for Buffalo. And, you know, the numbers back that up, the win backs that up. And the question now remains, like, sometimes a new thing is easy. Can they do it again? Can they do it for a second game in a row?
Another tidy bit of game management from Lindy Ruff was taking Tage Thompson, moving him away from his natural position as center, and putting the big man on the wing. That took him out of the face-off circle, and I feel like for every game in this series, whoever has controlled the dot has driven possession and has won the game. Buffalo owned them in Game 6, just over 60%, but it was Tage Thompson who was about 37% through games 1 through 5. He was averaging 12 of those a game. In Game 6, he only took 4, and I should add that none of those were in the D zone. So a lot of that responsibility through the middle of the ice, starting play, starting possession, was left up to Ryan McLeod and Josh Norris. These two did the heavy lifting and did an outstanding job in the process, 61 and just under 65% respectively. I think kind of let Tage just like go do his thing. He was able to just play. He didn't have to worry about snapping back draws. Let someone else do that. You guys know, wing's the easiest position.
I know. I thought Zucker was great the other night. He had 7 game-winning goals during the regular season, as yet to get one in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Quinn was great, but for the Montreal Canadiens, obviously all eyes, people are wondering about Slafkovsky. Is he hurt? What's your take on the big line?
I think Slav in particular, I think, has to have his biggest game of the series so far. And I don't know if it was coming out of the Tampa series or it was the start of this one, but he just hasn't been himself. The points have been there, only 1 goal, but I know this is Game 7. He's generating chances, but this has to be their biggest line. Slav in particular, but the line won as a response game from them from top to bottom. The other guy, I'll go through the wings now. So him and Cole Caulfield on the other side. 12 game-winning goals for Cole during the season. No one had more than 4 on this Montreal Canadiens roster, and Cole 0 in the playoffs. I think that changes tonight. I think you see a big one from Cole. He owes the team one, and I think he knows that, and you're going to see a better job by the first line from Montreal tonight.
And as centerman, Suzuki. Being the captain, I think that is huge. So for Suzuki, there are some games I played that I didn't really care if there was a captain or not. It's not that big of an impact, but in a game like this is where you look to your captain. He's got to be calm. He can touch all areas of the game, as we know, offensively, defensively, special teams. I look back to some of my Game 7s, and maybe I was a little bit more nervous than I needed to be, and I'd look at Denny Potvin or Wayne Gretzky and go, look at their demeanor. Go, I got this. If they're fine, I'm fine.
maybe not the captain, but another leader on the team, Josh Anderson. Remember him?
Yeah.
He's been kind of quiet for a couple of games, and he's had a huge monster playoffs for them. He's played back in the 21 run where they went to the finals. He played 22 games then. He had 5 goals. He's got 3 right now in 11. He has 39 hits, so he's still being physical, but I haven't seen any of those big, bone-crushing, game-changing type hits. He scores big goals, not a lot of goals, but a lot of big goals. And I think tonight is just a great night where he can have an impact physically and possibly with a huge goal.
I'd like to hear your thought on Kapanen, too. We'll get to that. Lindy Ruff, head coach of the Buffalo Sabres, lost 1 Game 7 as a player and 3 as a coach. So he'll be raring. There he is with Kyle DeCostas. Kyle.
Thanks, Ron. So, Lindy, the group stays in a hotel last night. You got a different hoodie on tonight. I don't know if you've asked for maybe a torch to be brought in here tonight to replicate being back in Montreal, but to what lengths have you tried to mix things up ahead of a Game 7?
I think sometimes it's you go beyond to make you feel good about what you can hope you can make happen in a game, and we have been a better road team in the playoffs, so we tried to replicate a few of those.
What was your sense of your team today?
Loose. I think the group feels really good about the way we played Game 6, and if we can replicate that, we'll be in good shape.
You get the sense that a few times this year you have leaned on your leadership group when your season's hit kind of a fork in the road. What have they shown you over the last few days when your season's been on the line?
Well, I think Game 6 is a great example that the top guys performed. The top guys are the difference maker in the game. You look at the game that Dahlin had, the game that Thompson had. You start at the top, and you need those guys at big moments.
You were saying this morning you've kind of said your piece to your group beforehand, so how do you fill the time between now and puck drop?
Well, I got to say one more piece before the game starts. So, we still have our 6 o'clock meeting, talk a little bit about what we want to do, and then a couple of minutes before the game, and let them go play.
Lindy, best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ron.
Terrific men. Kevin.
Well, Ron, remember Montreal Canadiens, they play a man-to-man defensive zone. We've talked about it a lot. Everybody's responsible for one other player. Buffalo kind of exploited them last game a little bit, 2 different ways. Confusion and constantly moving, and this is what the quote basically says, I think. Lindy Ruff after Game 6. 2 goals resulted from this philosophy, and the first one you're going to see, it's a little bit of the confusion. So Slafkovsky's in the corner here. He's going to end up turning this puck over, and then you're going to see he has to find his responsibility, which is Dahlin. And look how far away Dahlin is, 52 feet. So he has to run across there. Now he's going right at a player, which is the worst way to defend. He lunges at Dahlin, and Dahlin uses his skill set to go around him and score. So that's a little bit of confusion. Buffalo take advantage. Now this one, think about Steph Curry. He doesn't just stand on the arc and wait for a pass. He runs around, he runs through traffic, maybe his coverage runs into someone, trips, falls, and he gets open, just like Benson. Constantly moving, constantly skating around. It becomes really confusing for Montreal to cover everybody. 2 goals they got. Have they maybe figured out Montreal's D-zone coverage, Ron?
Kev, I think of Steve Nash, your friend. Todd McCullough played for our national team in Sydney at the Olympic Games, and Steve would dribble right at the guy. He'd take him and hand the ball to McCullough for the layup. He was a genius at that. Okay, so UPL.
Okay, so Luukkonen, of course, is going to get the start. I guess not, of course, because they've had a little bit of controversy in that area. But first of all, let's just say he is a major talent. Everybody recognizes that. So this is still a major hurdle for him to get over. He hasn't had home ice success here in these playoffs, and so he has to get rid of that in his mind. He has to play like he did in Game 4 and Game 6 in Montreal, because in those games he looked very calm, very relaxed, in control. And for him, I hope I'm not overstating something, but he's at a crossroads in the organization. Like, they have to decide whether he is a true number 1 and they're going to stick with him, or maybe if he falters tonight, then maybe they go in a different direction. He's at that point in his career.
You're exactly right. There's a reason they drafted him. 54th overall, 2nd round in 2017. Only 1 goalie was drafted before him was Jake Ottinger. He's the guy. Yeah. This is his team. This is his moment. This is his opportunity. I was trying to figure out whether the guys like that it's maybe him or Lyon. I think the guys absolutely love it. This is his job. This is his game.
Well, Montreal loves that Dobish is the guy. Yeah. And how does Dobish usually respond? He let in some goals last game. So will he be shaky? How does he come off a loss like that? Well, the numbers don't lie. He's got a pretty good record. 1 goals against in the last Game 7 after a loss. And, 5-0 in the playoffs. So obviously he can handle the moment, and what's the French saying, la creme de la creme, the cream rises. So in the big games, the best players usually rise to the top, and that's been Dobish in this journey so far in this playoff. So you know, I like him being on the road too. I feel like at times maybe he got a little distracted. I know some people don't like that argument, but I think there was a lot going on in Montreal in Game 6. I think on the road, where he knows he's the #1 enemy, he could just settle in and focus on stopping the puck.
I would agree with that, Kev. So right now, he even admits he can be a little too emotional. Just don't get tied up in some of that other stuff. Like I talked about that where the Sabres going through the crease. You don't have to do interference on that play. Just play, trust your instincts, and he's going to have a brilliant career.
So, Kev, you played both ways as a defenseman. The two key guys, Hudson and Dahlin, I mean, this is a game for the taking. What do? Do they back off or do they push the pace?
That's not either guy's style. They're both attack mode, and I think Dahlin's at his best. Obviously, can't be reckless, and we've showed so many clips of him getting caught behind the net, but he has to push the pace. And then Hudson, he's taken the next step. I think he was a lot more passive in the Tampa series. He's been a game changer and a difference maker in this series.
Well, the good thing is in Hudson, he's going to be brilliant. He's going to be moving his feet. The only thing for Buffalo, try and get in on the forecheck, make some contact on Hudson. But I just want to say with Dahlin as well, last game, he played just under 20 minutes because of the route. So they were able to rest him a little bit, which was great news for them.
Great point. Time now for the big board presented by Bet365, official partner of the NHL, to DA and Elliott.
All right, Ron, you heard Kevin talking about Dobish, and he's been sensational this entire postseason. Pulled down the third period of the last game. Any sense there could be some mental or physical fatigue there?
I think that's what everybody's wondering. He's played great in the playoffs. They showed his numbers after a loss. Kelly talked him up how good he is, but he's just never played this many high-intensity games in a row. The closest anything to it, and it is pretty amazing. In Ohio State 4 years ago, he played all 40 games. But 14 consecutive NHL playoff games, it's a lot. And one of the things another goalie in the league was saying, Dave, is he's so emotional, it wonders, it adds to the fatigue he feels sometimes overall.
Well, he certainly is the emotional heartbeat of this team in many respects, so he gets the start, of course, tonight. Meanwhile, we love the underdog story, especially this time of year. What about Zach Metzen? Unbelievable story. 27 years old, 5'9", undrafted, and of course scores in his NHL Stanley Cup playoff debut last game.
You know, of all the changes Buffalo made, one of the things they said quietly that didn't get any attention was his insertion. So this year he made his NHL debut. That was his first playoff game. As you said, he's 5'9". I think that's one of the reasons they were careful about putting him in. But this year at 5-on-5 in the regular season, Sabres outscored opponents 24-8 when he was on the ice. And one of the things his teammates say about him is he only cares about making good, smart, low-risk defensive plays. And the way they play overall as a team, it's not bad to have a guy out there who's like that. On the other side, Demidov, I mean, we've talked about every other Canadian player has to get going. He's started to get going. Goals in the last 2 games, 10 scoring chances. Sometimes, Dave, it's all about changing your tape from black to white. You know what? This game is calling for a hero. Why not him?
Youth be served, right? Demidov, Metza, Helenus, and maybe Kapanen tonight for the Montreal Canadiens. So a lot of young players key in this series so far.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Elliott. Big board presented by Bet365, official partner of the NHL. You can download the app today. Nick Suzuki, those tete-a-tetes with his head coach. We'll hear what he's feeling about Game 7. Kyle has the captain and more of our coverage. Hockey Night next.
The Stanley Cup Playoffs on Sportsnet, presented by Instacart. Groceries just how you like.
Life is filled with rewarding stages. Now, your banking is too. The CIBC Smart Account. Get up to $850.
Shake off winter and roll into spring. Your spring checkup starts at Jiffy Lube. Find your nearest location at jiffylubeservice.ca.
Pizza Hut cheeseburger meal just dropped. Tastes like a cheeseburger. Eats like a pizza. Grab a bite for a mouth-watering price. And don't worry, your secret's safe with us.
So with Rogers Xfinity, you can pull up games, stats, and scores. Blue Jays. Springer Dinger. May I? Davis Schneider's mustache. It's beautiful. The technology is amazing.
Tim's Omelet Bites. Real cheese, eggs, and sausage. Delicious. High in protein. And 2 for only $3.99? We call that a win-win-win. Try Tim's new sausage and 4 cheese flavor today. Mix and match 2 for $3.99.
The Ford, it's a event? Ah, the Ford, it's a big deal event. Right now, lease this F-150 for $237 bi-weekly. That's like $119 a week.
Old Spice Fiji gives me 24/7 freshness. It's gentle on my skin, and it's mine.
I thought we had no secrets.
Oh, hey, what do you mean?
Your Old Spice Fiji with 24/7 freshness?
How did you know?
I can smell coconuts and palm trees all over you. And because of the mirror.
Babe, I just wanted something for me.
That's why I got all this Old Spice Fiji.
Oh, for me?
For me.
I thought we had no secrets.
At Asante Wealth Management, we don't believe in shortcuts. Your financial success should be nurtured year after year after year. And your relationship with your advisor should be no different. Built on understanding, trust, and time. When you succeed, we succeed with you. That's what you deserve. That's what we promise. Asante, all success is personal.
In Pokemon Pokopia, you see a place you can call home. You recognize the potential to rebuild, nurture, and grow something wonderful. Not just for you, but for all your Pokemon friends who are eager to lend a hand or a green thumb. So make this place feel alive again. Because home is what you put your heart into. Pokemon Pokopia, only on Nintendo Switch 2.
Welcome back. As official fuel of the NHL, Esso is proud to fuel Canada's love for hockey. Esso, dedicated to Canada's game for over 90 years. Scoring first, 75% of the time you win in a Game 7, but it hasn't necessarily been huge here. Here's the captain and Kyle.
Nick, what was your message to your group ahead of tonight?
Not really much to be said. I mean, we know we got to play a lot better than last game, and you know, we got all the faith in the world in each other, so we just got to go out and do the job.
It's already been over a month of this playoff grind and another Game 7 here. How have you kept yourself sharp mentally?
I mean, it's pretty easy. I mean, you got these intense games, you know, do or die situations, so you know, everyone's feeling really good right now, and we just got to go out and win.
What do you look for early from your group that would be a good indication in your eyes?
Just using our pace, using our speed, you know, playing together. You know, it's there's not going to be a lot of space out there, so we got to make plays and use our forecheck really well.
Thanks, Nick. Good luck.
All right, thanks.
Ron.
He's in the game now, isn't he? Oliver Kapanen. So I was saying, Helenius, what he provided Buffalo, I feel like Kapanen can provide Montreal.
What's one thing that Kapanen has that nobody else in this game has?
I don't know.
Fresh legs.
Oh,
he played the first 4 games in round 1, averaging about 8.5 minutes. He hasn't played, and he's been healthy. So he's been skating every day, working on his cardio. Guys, maybe it comes down to a race, a foot race in Game 7. You got fresh legs and a guy who scored 22 times this year. He's got a great shot. Yeah, he hasn't had the best start to his playoff career, but he's fresh.
Honestly, this is perfect for them. I thought it might be Gallagher, but I feel like I knew there was going to be some sort of fresh body coming in. Maybe it's the spark they need. He's going to be chomping at the bit. I absolutely love this.
So last night, watching Niverville win the Centennial Cup, we'll get into that a little later in the show, but watching the Quebec League, Chicoutimi, crazy first time in 32 years, I thought of Lindy Ruff. 50 years ago, he started his junior career with the Tabor Golden Suns. You know the program, Junior A in Alberta, great program. He had Vic Stasiuk, your coach, his coach. He had Steve Tajura, 14-year-old, on the team. And but it's just amazing. Lindy, 50 years ago, that's where the dream started, and they won Kraft Hockeyville. Tabor.
And my first captain in Medicine Gord Gatos was on that team too. So lots of history there. So Lindy and Marty, when I'm watching them coaching, they are just so good with the groups they have. And when Lindy, they're down 3-1, he pulls the goalie, brings in Lukin, and then he's telling the guys, we're still in this. You can see he's encouraging them. It looked pretty bleak, right? Down 3-1, 10 minutes in. Then Marty, near the end of the game, they're getting routed, and he's like a normal conversation with his captain, like, okay, well, we're going to move on beyond this. I just thought the messaging was perfect. Like, Marty St. Louis, he doesn't need to yell or scream or get that mad at those guys. They know they blew an opportunity. Now let's move forward.
Coaching is so critical in these big games. Like, think about it. You've been looking for little holes in your opponent for 6 games. Now maybe it's one face-off play that you think's going to work. Maybe it's a timeout at a key time. A coach can have a big impact on these type of games.
Yeah, I don't know if it's both that they're veteran guys or former players, but it seems like both coaches have a really good feel and pulse for their group.
Pulse, that's the word in Buffalo. First time they've had a Game 7 in Western New York in 15 years. And just for you, PearlJam opens the show next.
If Connor McDavid and Connor Bedard had childhood ambitions to become architects, CIBC would work with them every step of the way. Or if they wanted to be mechanics, we'd have a personalized plan. Just like we'll have a plan for your ambitions too. CIBC. Ambitions.
This is the way. Enter for your chance to win with Orville Redenbacher, The Mandalorian in Grogu, only in theaters May 22nd.
Looks like they brought a couple ringers. Nice stick. Is that antique? I'll take that. Come on, Dougie, you got a black check.
Garbage day. Now you can finally drink out of a cup.
The nice thing about the middle of nowhere is it's in the middle of nowhere. Get an Airbnb and go where hotels can't.
So with Rogers Xfinity, you can pull up game stats and scores. Blue Jays. Springer Dinger.
May I? Davis Schneider's mustache.
It's beautiful. The technology is amazing.
The Ford, it's a event? Ah, the Ford It's a Big Deal event. Right now, lease this F-150 for $237 bi-weekly. That's like $119 a week.
Nice to meet you.
So, did you?
Is that got it?
Yes.
As Canada stares down economic uncertainty, we're ready with a plan to protect Ontario. We're fighting to defend every job, building new nuclear facilities, speeding up approvals to build mines, diversifying our trade, bringing opportunity, good jobs, and growth home. Because this province doesn't just sit back, we build. That's how we protect Ontario.
Every new Hyundai vehicle sold supports Hyundai Hope on Wheels and its mission to help end childhood cancer. With more than $4 million donated across Canada this year, Hyundai and its dealers are just getting started. To help kids put cancer in the rearview mirror.
I'm back on the hunt to find more outrageous, over-the-top houses. How does one obtain a caboose?
Zillow Gone Wild, all new Friday night at 9:30 on HGTV.
The National Hockey on Sportsnet presents the Stanley Cup Playoffs.
Sportsnet. You want action? We've got action for you here tonight. He's got a stick. He's in. Scores! Absolutely amazing.
PearlJam and Rearview Mirror. Sean Clary, the producer, Dakota Sannon, the editor, for that masterpiece to open the show. The torches flare up in the night, the hand that sets the games alight, to spread the word to those who are waiting on the border. Meanwhile, the wind whips up the waves so loud, the ghost moon sails among the clouds, turns the Sabres to silver, Montreal to gold on the border. Game 7. Hockey night in Canada. Luke Gazdic, Kelly Rudy, Kevin Bieksa, and at KeyBank Center, within, David Amber, Elliot Friedman, DA.
All right, Elliot, so much has been made of the lack of home ice advantage so far in this series. One thing in particular you noticed in this building is what?
First games, game 2 especially, when the Sabres power play went badly, the fans got on them. Visiting teams have said they think it affects the Sabres. And you're wondering, it's one of the best buildings in the league, great fan base. But if they get on them tonight, if it goes a little badly, will the Sabres tighten? What an atmosphere, Dave. It's why we get into this business.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to imagine they're carrying the burden of all those Bills defeats in the Super Bowls in the last 14 years of tough hockey here in Buffalo. You know, they have a chance to flip that script tonight with a win versus the Canadiens, though.
Chris Cuthbert, 36 Game 7s. You imagine David and Elliot?
Wow.
So Craig Simpson's up there, who's probably played in 36 of them. And Kyle coming up here shortly. Kelly, your thoughts today?
Okay, so in Game 7s, I know this is going to sound corny, but my 5 senses were heightened, like my sight, my hearing, my smell, my taste, and my touch. And it was weird. It was really weird, especially my hearing. It was all so loud, and so emotionally, it was a little bit draining. I had to make sure that I was under control and that emotion didn't get the best of me. And so those guys right now, until you go out on the ice and that puck is dropped, that's what they're going through.
Dave just had to mention our Bills losses. Hey, can I just say how thrilled I am to be here today with you guys? Holiday Monday here in Canada, sun shining, it's Game 7. In these games, I feel like someone unexpected always does something, and I'm excited to see who that is tonight.
Well, how about this, guys? I think in Game 1 of the playoffs, Josh Anderson's touch was heightened, and he's a depth guy. So he was a guy who got scoring started for Montreal, and then remember Slavkovsky took over with the hat trick. And then on the other side, you know, he turned 21 last week and became an adult, Zach Benson. But he's been playing like an adult all playoffs. 5 goals, another big night for him, I'm sure.
Really great. You see Dobish there. He's trying to join Ken Dryden in 71 as the only rookie goalie to win 2 Game 7s on the road. Buffalo, New York. The hour of decisions upon us. Enjoy.
As tonight's the night, the world begins again. Yes, one more blank slate, one game to determine who goes on to the conference final. As Alex Tuck said, when you have everything to lose, it almost feels like you have nothing to lose. 247 days ago, these teams got together for training camp, and no guarantees they'll have a 244th as a group. Now, the great Larry Robinson ignited Montreal prior to game number 6. He had a great line about the journey of a team, in that the more you are together as a family, when things get tight, the more you bind together. He lived that so many times over his 6 Stanley Cups with Montreal, and the images all playoffs of the Canadiens celebrating each other's success, picking each other up. They are a family. Caden Gooley saying that they're a bunch of brothers that have gone through this rebuild together. And the best families eat together. So will tonight end celebrating with pizza Or will it be buffalo wings? Hold the honey garlic. It's Game 7. Canadiens Sabres. Can you stomach one more?
Hands up there. What's that? Hawaiian noises. Banging on the bongos like a chimpanzee. Oh, that ain't working. That's the way you do it. Get your money for nothing. Get your chicks for free.
We now ask that you please rise, if you are able, and remove your hats for the presentation of the colors by the Buffalo Police Honor Guard. And now the singing about Canada and the Star Spangled Banner, performed tonight by Doug Allen.
True patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Down on the ice goes Bashir. Here they go. Firing punches away. Loaded with the roll. Ray dropped him. Ray smoked it. Ray with the coup de grace. Holy mackerel.
All right, Sabres fans, it's time to get on your feet and get loud. We welcome Rob Ray to get tonight's game started. Let's go.
Gentlemen.
I was worried with Rob Ray that drum might not stand a chance as he fires up the crowd. Just a short time ago, much quieter in this building, and the starting goaltenders alone with their thoughts. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen didn't finish Game 5 here, but perfect in relief on Saturday. And Jakub Dobeš up 28 of 29 in the Tampa Bay finale, looking to rebound from his first playoff hook in Game 6. So it's either the final night or a berth in the Final Four. Who gets to go to Carolina? Underway in Game 7. Alex Tuch on the ice along with Ryan McLeod, Josh Doan, and Marty St. Louis has Alex Newhook on the ice along with Jake Evans and Ivan Demidov. Of course, Newhook, the Game 7 hero in Tampa Bay. Craig, you almost get the sense, at least for the Canadiens, get through the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's been early goals so early and often in this series so far. You know, Luke was talking about all the emotions that you have, and you really do have to try to narrow it down to just another game. Focus the way that you always do. Prepare. Use that emotional nervousness and turn it into positive energy. That's really the challenge of every player here. And I agree with Kelly. I find on the road you can settle in. Use the home crowd's energy, but you're not trying to make a show for your fans. You're just playing the game.
Well, that puck played offside, but almost onto the stick of a Sabre changing. They almost got caught early.
Well, don't you get the feeling that that first power play, or, you know, power play again is going to play a significant role? You look at Game 6, 4 for 6 on the power play for the Sabres in that win. Game 5, 2 for 4 for the Montreal Canadiens, or 2 for 2 rather, for the Montreal Canadiens. Who's going to get that first opportunity, Chris, with the man advantage?
John Hebert, Wes McCauley are in charge tonight. Hudson trying to sweep that around towards Cole Caulfield. Owen Power moved up. Tage Thompson stays on the wing for a second straight game. For all the criticism he's received, Tage Thompson tied for second in Stanley Cup playoff scoring. Suzuki is offside. We have seen, with regularity, early goals in this series.
Yeah, when you think about it, Game 4 is the longest we had to wait at 6:32. The ones early on were the shocking one. Game 3 with the Thompson goal, and then, of course, the all-important Game 6, Dahlin capping off just a brilliant night. A goal and 4 assists for the Sabres captain. Got it started 32 seconds in.
Luukkonen will hold on to that, deflecting into his glove.
Well, there's another storyline, too, of the two goaltenders. You know, this series, we've seen some blowouts on both sides. We've seen all 4 goaltenders, and now here we are in a Game 7. Montreal has scored 24 goals in this series, Buffalo 21. Again, tight games, but who's going to come to the forefront when it matters most?
There's a face-off win. Carrier looking to tee that up. A bouncing puck kicked away at the last moment by Luukkonen. It'll be Alex Texier in behind the Buffalo net. Trying to center that as he holds on with Zach Metza tracking him. Dahlin up with the puck. That 5-point performance, the most ever by a defenseman in Stanley Cup playoff history when his team faced elimination.
Well, the only defenseman with more points is Paul Coffey in 1985 against Chicago. He had a goal and 5 assists. Dahlin saving his best for later in this series. He's had a great Game 5 and 6.
Caden Dooley sends it in. It went off the skate to Doc, kept in at the line. Flying in there is Jack Guy in front. And there's Oliver Kapanen with an early look in his first appearance in this series. Kapanen regains his stick now as it comes back to the line for Dooley. Dooley sends it across, and that puck will come back out for Jack Guy at center.
Boy, how about that for Kapanen? As Kevin said, fresh legs back in the lineup. And, man, first shift almost had one on the doorstep to get the game's first goal.
I bumped into a guy on the street earlier today, and he said, I think Oliver Kapanen will be in the lineup tonight, and you were bang on.
Yeah, I just think you needed to make a little shake-up. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point he gets up with that top line and puts Demidov up there and Slafkovsky back down with Kapanen. They've had good chemistry when they played together this year.
Here's Hudson off a skeet, and ricochets back to center. Dobson will flip it back in. Newhook tags up. And Bowen Byram with a stretch pass. It's on the tape. Alex Tuch is in. Tuch sweeps it across. In deep. And there's a sharp angle shot that Dobish turns aside. What a great pass. And Tuch's got it again. Back to Byram this time. Owen Power on the near side. He can't get that through. That off the glove of Hudson looked like a blocker saved by him. But now the puck into the Montreal bench.
So you just get a feeling that first goal, the importance for both these teams. They said Kapanen, he's been sitting for 9 games. He understands what playoff hockey's all about now, having played 4 to start. And right there on the rebound, got a good chance at the rebound. And then Byram with his head up the entire way. If you're looking for one Buffalo Sabre to get things going, it's Alex Tuch. He's had a tough series, hasn't scored, got -9 in the 6 games, but you just wonder when he can break out.
Here's Samuelson with a shot that Karam's wide of the net. Thompson goes down. Slavkovsky after it, able to one-hand that past Dahlin and out. Zach Benson, who has been a major factor in this series, back in his own zone. Got tied up by Caulfield. Puck came loose and then gets flipped away back inside the Montreal line. Alex Carrier to work. He'll drop it back into Sabres ice. Slavkovsky on the forecheck. Josh Norris starts the breakout, and ahead goes Thompson. Tage Thompson over the line. 5 multi-point games in these playoffs. Benson behind the net, taken away by Suzuki. And the Montreal captain will play it back in behind the net. Trying to get away from the dogged checking, and now sent to center and fired back in by Metsä. Mike Matheson required. And now regrouping as the Canadiens make a change. Halanus comes onto the ice for Buffalo along with Jason Zucker. And now bounce down into Sabre territory. That's Josh Anderson in after it first. Got it loose. A chance here. Goalie front. Scores! Tipped in front. And Montreal has struck first. Phil Deneau with the touch.
Well, there it is again. Didn't make it to the first commercial break. We haven't all this series. The early goals, this time it's the Canadiens. The guys talked about Josh Anderson and the impact he can have. He gets inside and out muscles Byram. One hand on his stick, he gets it past Metsä, and then Texier with that quick little one-hand pass off the skate past Luukkonen. No chance at all. Great positioning in front by Phil Deneau, and that all-important first goal goes to the Montreal Canadiens.
First in 18 playoff games for Deneau, who had a pair of goals in Game 1 last year against Edmonton. Well, if the fans were looking for a challenge here.
Yeah, they were initially saying, okay, did he kick it? There's no question he didn't kick it. I'm not sure what Lindy, it didn't look like goaltender interference either.
Well, the fans upset that there was no challenge on the play, and Montreal with the lead. Deneau from Dooley and Texier at 4:30. So again, an early goal to start proceedings here in Game 7 of this series. That stopped a run of 7 consecutive Buffalo Sabre goals.
Hard to believe. 7 straight games. The longest we've gone is 6:42. Just the early goal.
Here's Kirby Doc back in. Doc in behind the net, trying to get it to Bolduc. Taken away, and out comes Beck Mallenstein. The former Calgary Hitman will drop it down and size up Lane Hudson with a jolt. Back the other way, Evans. Rink wide, Newhook. Bounce there by Dahlin. After it goes, Davidoff comes up with it. And then the puck slides to Josh Doan. Up ahead, McLeod. This a line put together with Tuck for game number 6. And it comes back here. Doan with a shot right on. Rebound to Dahlin. Rasmus Dahlin back to the line. Covering was Doan. McLeod up high. Hands it off to Doan. Working his way in behind the net. And that gets away from Dahlin. Samuelson trying to turn away. Gives it away. Hudson with a burst. Dahlin is back. Hudson, and the glove stopped there by Luukkonen. Matheson back in his own zone. Now Suzuki to the red line, drops it in, and Slavkovsky goes after it. Gets a piece of Byram, centered in front, backhand, and Luukkonen stopped that off Cole Caulfield as the Canadiens get another look.
Boy, a couple of big saves there by Luukkonen. Settle in. You got one that got tipped behind you. Not much you could do. Hudson with the quick release. Look at the positioning of Luukkonen there. And then hard to read a backhand. He gets the glove on it, able to hold on and get the whistle.
Make it through Chapter 5. And 6. Make more of your everyday banking with Scene Plus points on every debit transaction. Scotiabank, you're richer than you think.
To mold a new reality, closer to the heart, closer to the heart.
Answer the call. Volunteer with Ontario Corps.
So with Rogers Xfinity, you can pull up games, stats, and scores. Blue Jays. Springer Dinger. May I? Davis Schneider's mustache. It's beautiful. The technology is amazing.
Driving a Chevy Equinox means you can keep up with the chaos and stay connected to what matters and feel more confident with every drive. But dependability isn't achieved in a day. It's earned over time. And as the most awarded compact SUV for dependability over the last decade in the U.S. by J.D. Power, Chevy Equinox is the one you can count on. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Well, blame Sabres fan for being a little sensitive about foot in the crease. You go back to '99 and Brett Hull in overtime in the Stanley Cup. The rules then were different. There's no contact at all by Danault. He doesn't get into Luukkonen. His foot is in the crease, but under today's rules, that's a good goal. The crowd didn't like it, but Danault, his first of the Stanley Cup playoffs this season.
Canadiens scoring a first goal for the first time since Game 2. And they did score first late in the opening period of Game 7 in Tampa Bay on a goal by Nick Suzuki. Here comes Benson in with Norris. Norris in behind the net, coming off what Lindy Ruff thought was his best game. Puck loose and Danault away. Fired that down past Anderson that didn't hit him, and so icing is called.
Check out 3-goal early payout brought to you by Bet365. When your team goes up 3, you get paid. It's that simple. Download the app today. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Diamond League is back in China for another round of high-level track and field. Catch all the action Saturday on CBC and CBC Gem. Rabid crowd here, as has been the case throughout the series. It was interesting that after a huge ovation for the Sabres coming on, slowly underneath there was an undercurrent of ole, ole, ole as the Montreal fans are here in large number again tonight.
Again, a change at the bench there. Montreal, fortunate, had a couple of bodies on, had some contact. You always wonder again, he said about penalties and how important the got two veteran officials again. We saw one change for Buffalo early on where they threw it, Montreal threw it by the bench. That's a smart play, as you could see going off and the puck hits but not involved in the play, and that forces Dobish to hold on, which doesn't allow Montreal to change at all because of the long dumping.
We'll track the faceoffs again tonight. They're even so far. A large Buffalo advantage in Game 6, which went against the grain for this series. A face-off win by Montreal there, but Buffalo got it back and got a look. Now to the line, Samuelson. In behind the net, Jason Zucker. Here's Zucker. Trying to come out in front and swept that wide. Traffic in front there. Quinn is on the ice along with Helenius. Zucker here. In deep again was Dahlin. Puck slides around and a chance for the Canadiens to get a stick on it. Matheson checked, and Buffalo maintains possession. Now flipped away and out to center. Approaching 8 minutes of this opening period in Game 7. 5-3 the shots Montreal, and Phil Danault on the scoreboard at the 4:30 mark of this first period. Here's McLeod in, drifts that high. And McLeod in his 4th Game 7, along with his line mate Alex Tuck. It'll be Timmins firing it across. Owen Power trying to hold his own. Dobish out to play that and hands it to Caden Gooley. Primary assist on the Montreal goal. He'll fire it back into Buffalo's territory. That went by everybody, and Hudson will pick it up at center. Trying to feed it ahead. Nolan Power intercepts. Power at the line is checked. Noah Dobson's got some room. Benson trying to deny that pass back to Hudson. It does come to Hudson. And now the Canadiens with some speed. Sent into the Sabres territory. Mets off the boards. Keep on in front. Sneaky backhand there by Slafkovsky. But Luukkonen kicked away. Now Tage Thompson digs in. Slafkovsky with a check on that left side against Norris. Suzuki unable to control. Centered and Hudson was there. Up off the stick of Caulfield and back into the Buffalo zone. Here's Metza, who scored in his Stanley Cup debut on Saturday night. Greenway in behind the net, looking to center, knocked off a stick and back out.
Great stick there by Dovish. He anticipated that pass to the slot, got his stick down to stop it.
Malenstein back in, fourth line to the attack for Buffalo. Greenway out there, Peyton Krebs at center, and Samuelson's moved in to seal the wall. Long board battle. Canadiens work it out. And that will skitter right to Luukkonen.
Well, nothing new there for a Buffalo defender to be in on the forecheck. That's as Kevin was talking to. Be really interesting to see how aggressive they continue. They attack with four with their D-man jumping up and often involved.
Here's a chance. Jack Quinn in. And Dolan came across to make the save. Great chance for Quinn, who got on the board twice in Game 6. Fans looking for a call here, but Dovish able to rise to the occasion on a feed to Quinn that had him sprung, and now Texier the other way. Maybe a 2-on-1 as Texier comes in with Anderson trying to make himself available. Deneau back to Texier. Gouley hit Texier with that clearing attempt, now puts it toward the net. Other side for Hudson. Deneau calling for it. Hudson keeping it. Now dropping it off. Bump back now for Deneau. And Gouley on the other side right on. Kick to Hudson. Hudson swings away from Doan. Looks across and that's broken up. And a lead feed here to him one the other way. They say it's onside. Loose in front and knocked away from Doan. That one was close at the line. As Buffalo maintains possession, looks for Timmins in front, and it slid just wide as Dovish is down. Able to get his stick and get back up. Buffalo comes close. Here's Samuelson, and a big shot, and that comes back off the end boards, and Dovish gonna get on top of that.
Well, this game's starting to heat up now. You know the energy in this building by the second. A couple of beauty chances as Buffalo, a play at the blue line sends Quinn in all alone. Look at the stretch there by Dovish to get back to his post and not allow it. A cross crease, bounces can go anywhere. Good job by Hudson. And then a saucer pass across that Timmins gets a piece of. Doan can't find the rebound.
Invest in what you're really invested in. With custom goals and personalized advice from Scotia Smart Investor. Scotiabank, you're richer than you think.
Introducing Subway's Wannabe Spicy Menu. From mild Piri Piri Ranch Chicken to wild Hot Honey Chicken to wicked Nashville-style deli. All on new Ghost Pepper Bread with fiery flavors like new Hot Honey Sauce. How spicy do you want to be?
No markups.
No markup! Select retailer! No markup! Select retailer! Fees and exclusions apply. Good night! To mold a new reality, closer to the heart. closer to the heart.
Answer the call. Volunteer with Ontario Corps.
So with Rogers Xfinity, you can pull up games, stats, and scores. Blue Jays. Springer Dinger. May I? Davis Schneider's mustache. It's beautiful. Good technology is.
Over 200 Game 7s in the history of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It is no secret scoring first tips the scales heavily in your favor. Montreal did it last round. Game 7 down in Tampa. Martin St. Louis said earlier today of a Game 7, you don't get a do-over. They don't need a do-over with their start as they score first here tonight, Chris.
They scored first, check. They won Game 7 in Tampa Bay by 1 goal, so that follows a trend. Sabres pushing back here, though. Here's Josh Norris trying to turn away from the checking of Suzuki. Cycles it down, Benson after it, jostling there, and Carrier got inside position. Up the boards, Caulfield trying to get it out. Stuck there along the boards, but now played ahead for Slafkovsky. He'll cruise in and wait for some help from Caulfield. Pass for Suzuki along the boards, and Samuelson there. Slafkovsky trying to get it back. Chucked in front, Caulfield, big stop, rebound, and then stopped. 2 great A's. Puck cleared over the glass. Is that going to be a penalty? But how did Luukkonen keep it from being 2-0?
You talk about just athleticism and throwing your body to make 2 saves, not just 1. His reaction to get the second was exceptional. Watch the hand-eye here by Suzuki. Puck's up in the air, a little chip by Slafkovsky. A chip across, knocks it down. 1 save, rebound right there on the doorstep, somehow able to reach, and then Benson on his knees, just trying to clear it out of harm's way. Great hands there by Caulfield, and 2 spectacular saves by Luukkonen. A little tap from the captain, you know how important that was, and any question about Luukkonen's ability to get right back on track in this game shown there, but the game's first power play on a delay of game over the glass by Benson gives the Canadiens an opportunity to try to get a second here.
7 for 25 in the series, 7 for 22 on the road in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Suzuki tied up, tried to get it to Caulfield, and now it bounces to McLeod, who sends it down the ice. Canadiens with 12 power play goals. They've all come from the 5 guys on the ice. Been no secondary power play scoring for Montreal in the postseason. That Suzuki pass does get to the intended target. Swept around for Slafkovsky. Watched there by Tuck. Comes over to Demidov. Power play goal in Game 6. That's off a ski tonight. Hudson right back in. Looks for Demidov. Trying to turn away from Malenstein. At the line, it's Slafkovsky and Suzuki. Sprawling there was Timmins. Hudson with the puck. Watched by Malenstein. 6.5 to go in the opening period. There's Demidov, Slafkovsky, Suzuki, a hot shot. Comes back around to Demidov. Into the middle for Hudson, able to stretch out to reel that back. Now the captain, watched up by Tuck. Hudson takes the shot. Suzuki ready to go. No shot yet. For Caulfield, turning away from Timmins. Suzuki. And cross crease, falling at Demidov. Puck comes out. 24 seconds left. Hudson right back in with Suzuki dropping it off. Here's Slafkovsky, great pass, and Bolduc sent it wide. Now Bolduc from the corner. Back to the line for Hudson. Lane Hudson can't sift it through. It'll be Suzuki in front. Scores! It's Bolduc! A power play goal. And for the first time, a guy on the second power play unit has struck.
You had some remnants from the first one with Lane Hudson, who had just an unreal power play, keeping things alive. Suzuki making play after play. Bolduc with a couple of chances. He gets in and get this first pass, a saucer across. Suzuki with the shot that goes off the shin pad. No look there by Luukkonen, but this play in the corner takes 2 guys with him. And a quick little pass by Suzuki. Knew the pressure was there. Bolduc down on one knee. The quick release up by the ear. No chance. And back in Montreal. Fans celebrating. We said the power play was going to be important. Chris said nobody but the top 5 guys had got one. Well, couldn't pick a better time than Game 7 on the road for Zach Bolduc to get his first power play goal of the playoffs.
Second of the series. He had the game winner in Game 3. Now 3 in the playoffs. Suzuki and Hudson draw the assists.
Hudson was all over that power play, just using his speed and his agility to keep plays alive 3 and 4 times. And, you know, that's the element that he has just shown all the way through. Over a point per game now in his playoff career. A little smile on his face. You know the importance of those moments. You get your first power play. You don't want it to be a setback and take away momentum. Excellent individual effort by Hudson to get that going.
6-game point streak for Lane Hudson. That shot, and Dobish got a piece of that through a screen. Benson off the boards, going to the net, put it in front. Dahlin back to Byram. They've got Dahlin and Byram together. After the power play for Montreal, Dahlin in low. He goes tumbling over the goaltender and crashing into the post. A little slow to get out, and a breakaway. Home free, Alex Texier. And Luukkonen able to stretch out to make a critical stop.
Oh, man. How about Johnny Bear? He was looking at Dahlin. Did he need help when the play was in the offensive zone? And wisely for him, as the referee looked up and saw it was a breakaway going the other way. Let the play go, and Luukkonen, another huge save to swell a great scoring chance.
And a terrific opening period for the Canadiens now. 11 shots. 8 for Buffalo. And a 2-goal lead that they had in the opening period of Game 6. Here's Gooley keeping it in at the line. Zucker sneaking in behind. 2-on-1. Zucker in. And it's blocked. Huge defensive play by Carrier.
Just great timing by Carrier. Delivered the shooter to his goaltender. Made it look like there was going to be no pass. Got down and took away any chance.
Check out 3-goal early payout brought to you by Bet365. When your team goes up 3, you get paid. It's that simple. Download the app today. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Oh boy, you talk about a 3-goal lead. What would that mean? Texier tries to deke him down. Look at the stretch out there by Luukkonen, trying to catapult his body back. Stretch his right leg out as far as he could, able to get his toe on that chance by number 85.
Face off in the Montreal zone. Tuck trying to fire it back, and off a stick all the way down the ice. Fans thought that might be icing.
I think he's saying it hit a Buffalo stick. You can see the linesman put his hand in the air.
Dobson back in his own zone. Around it goes, and that was cut off by Tuck. Caulfield's got some room on that right wing. Dobson and Hudson. A 6-game point streak for Hudson, who came in tied for 6th in Stanley Cup playoff scoring. We've seen some great defensive work by Hudson and Dahlin in this series. Fans wanted a call there, don't get it. And it's bounced back inside the Sabre line. Lead feed for Benson. Right back in, and that just skitters wide of the back post. Carrier on Thompson. They continue to battle. Thompson stays on the puck, and Carrier stays on him. Good work. Now Bolduc shoulders in, gives Carrier some space to win the battle. Kirby Dach trying to get it by Timmins. Pinching in again. Connor Timmins to work. Timmins away with the puck. Downhill, overskates it. It'll come to Thompson, and that's blocked. Bolduc and out. Under 2.5 left here in the opening period. Deneau and Bolduc. Goals coming just under 10 minutes apart. 4:30 and 14:29, the time of the goals. The second on the power play. Jack Quinn down this right flank. Here's Quinn, and a good collision with goalie. Peyton Gooley's been one of the leading hitters in this series, but no hits, no blocked shots in Game 6. Back on the board there. A long pass for Anderson. Missed the mark. It's ice in Montreal.
Well, we've seen a lot of 2-on-1s in this series. We've talked all the time about trusting your goaltender, deliver the shooter. Here's the play where you get caught by Gooley, a 2-on-1. Watch how Carrier stays in the middle, and then at the last second, once Tucker turns it in and turns it to his backhand, you know he's not going to get a shot. So the timing was perfect. Gooley, as you said, second to only Jack-Eye in hits for the Montreal Canadiens during this playoff run.
So there's been a Buffalo push here, down by 2. Canadiens trying to escape the period with the 2-goal lead. Flipped away to center, a bouncing puck for Texier, and coming back to knock that away was Alex Tuch. Byram right side. Here's Doan cutting in. Tuch will swing it in behind the net. It doesn't reach Doan. Tuch on it again. Checked, and Dahlin with a swat at it. Didn't make contact. Dober steers that in behind the net. They continue to push here. Power bouncing that through and deflected into the corner. Doan on it. Now Ryan McLeod. Tracked by Matheson. Tuch takes over. Lays it in behind the cage, and Hudson's got it. Trying to turn away from McLeod. Final minute of the period, an outlet for Newhook, and he's bowled over. Big hit there by Greenway. Greenway after it behind his own net, and Power there to come away with the puck. Peyton Krebs sidesteps Slavkovsky. All the way across from Allenstein. That is offside. 36.9 remaining here in the opening period, and maybe 6.9 on that hit on the Richter scale by Greenway.
Invest in what you're really invested in. With custom goals and personalized advice from Scotia Smart Investor. Scotiabank, you're richer than you think.
New McCafe Refreshers. A rush of vibrant flavors. Icy cool and undeniably refreshing. Part of the new McCafe lineup from McDonald's.
It's been 2 weeks with an ordinary razor. Do you risk the burn or burn through another cartridge? That's not a problem you have with Gillette. Every blade is built stronger than steel, with 3 times more protective coatings than the leading 5-blade competitor, for a difference you can see and feel. So your 15th, 20th, even 30th shave is still smooth, comfortable, and the best a man can get. Gillette, official partner of the NHL.
I want you.
The Hyundai Elantra inspires a special type of love. The type that goes the distance. That always stays on your mind. And still takes your breath away after all this time. It's that Hyundai Elantra type of love.
Last game in this building, one of the most memorable images. Martin St. Louis, Trevor Letowski in sync, locking eyes, keeping Dobich in the game, and in sync again here tonight on the Texier breakaway. Both up on the bench, both off the bench at the exact same time. Martin St. Louis joke, in this building, at his height, the height of the benches do not do him any favors. So he is up often to be able to see over the shoulders of the players, Chris.
Hey, we got a physics lesson after Game 6, and they have bounced forward so far tonight.
You don't want to bounce back because it puts you back in the same place you were.
His way of creatively talking about learning from defeat. And it looks like some lessons so far have been learned. But a lot of work left to do. We'll tie that along the boards as the clock drains. And Canadiens happy to keep it right there for 5 more seconds if they can. Is it going to come loose? Thompson in his skates at the horn. And one done here in Game 7. Philip Deneau with the icebreaker at 4:30 from Texier and Gooley. And then 14:29, a power play goal by Bolduc from Nick Suzuki and Lane Hudson, Ron Kelly, Kevin Luke, David Amber, and Elliot Friedman in the building for our first intermission.
What's the name? Twisted Tea celebrates all hockey fans. Guys, check it out. No matter who you cheer for. When it comes to our love for hockey and the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea, we're all on the same team. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Good times with a twist.
Old Spice Fiji gives me 24/7 freshness. It's gentle on my skin, and it's mine.
I thought we had no secrets.
Oh, hey, what do you mean?
Your Old Spice Fiji with 24/7 freshness?
How did you know?
I can smell coconuts and palm trees all over you. And because of the mirror.
Babe, I just wanted something for me.
That's why I got all this Old Spice Fiji.
Oh, for me?
For me.
I thought we had no secrets.
And the men who hold high places must be the ones who start to mold a new reality closer to the heart, closer to the heart.
Answer the call. Volunteer with Ontario Corps.
I want you.
The Hyundai Elantra inspires a special type of love. The type that goes the distance. That always stays on your mind. And still takes your breath away after all this time. It's that Hyundai Elantra type of love.
With Rogers Xfinity Internet, my whole house is ready for baseball. So this is where I buy all my memorabilia. Boom! Just got Clement's childhood glove. Mom. She's really come through for me. And this is where I stream everything.
Sweet setup.
It's all for you guys.
Michael, what is this?
Oh, yeah. That's where I keep my modem.
Get Major League Internet with Rogers Xfinity.
Yeah, Wi-Fi is just pouring out of that thing.
This is your last chance. Show her. This is The Price is Right. Tonight.
Rover, go on, get me my slippers. Rover, the slippers. Ah, silly dog.
So much for silly dog. Red Bull gives you wings.
That's the reaction to the Phil Deneau goal. And they had it twice in the opening period. Jam-packed rink at Montreal. The Stanley Cup playoffs and Sportsnet brought to you by Rogers. And Kevin, I was looking at Marty St. Louis during O Canada, and I'm thinking, is he anxious? Doesn't, he's a vet, or is he just reflecting on what he just told the team or what the team was just talking about? Maybe it was that.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. If we had a microphone in the locker room before the game, in Montreal's room, that is, I think we would hear things like, weather the storm, take the home crowd out of it. That's some of the things the players would be saying. The first thing, take the crowd out of it, that happened organically. There was 3-4 whistles in the first minute of the game with stoppages of play and icing, and that naturally quieted the crowd. And then the other one, weather the storm. Well, how do you weather the storm? You win your fair share of 50-50s. And a 50-50 is truly, you have an equal opportunity to win this battle. Byram and Demidov, the second effort swipe, and the puck's out of the zone. Like, you think it's a little thing? It's a huge thing, especially on the road. Slafkovsky, a true 50-50 there, he gets that puck out. So in the defensive zone, it allows you to get out. In the offensive zone, Josh Anderson with one hand on his stick, and then Mbappe with the goal right. I mean, Danault with the goal right. Just kidding. It was not a kick. Some of our biased executives here, whose dads are in the Hall of Fame for the Sabres, thought that was a kick. No kick there, but it's all from 50-50s.
Well, if you had a mic in Buffalo's room, you're going to probably hear one of their many mantras that they've been going with throughout this playoffs. How about JFG, just freaking go? And they take that right over into their penalty kill. They want to be super, super aggressive, but it kind of comes back to bite them in this first one. Benson takes one over the glass. Now they find themselves down short-handed. They do a great job here, actually. They're contained. This is how they want to get set. Containment, in the middle of the ice. You're okay. But as soon as they see numbers and as soon as they see bobbles, they want to go. They want to be aggressive. There's Suzuki on the back. There goes Timmins coming in here. And Samuelson, the guy on the back side, he is going to try to cut off this rim. Little do they know, Mr. Zach Bolduc hanging out on the backside. Suzuki's going to feather an absolute beautiful pass through the seam there. Just a little bit too aggressive, and they bite on that. It's a really nice
Your
play,
PK coach, after dissecting that, would say, we did everything right there. He just made an unbelievable pass.
Okay, Ron, you remember broadcasting Game 6 when Kevin and Luke were extremely critical of Dobish, right? And how he was getting too involved with the Sabres players. So we have a number of examples here. Just how Dobish is not getting too involved. He's minding his own business. This is a really good thing, because last game I said that maybe twice he could have been called for interference. Here comes Greenway. Watch Dobish. He's trying to help out his defenseman, maybe take away the eyes of Greenway, but not getting involved, not whacking and slashing like he was doing last game. Here's another example. Doan's going to come in, and here's Dobish doing things just perfectly right here, not getting involved. And how about this one? He gets a spray of snow, and he doesn't react. What would have he done last game? Take a look at all the snow on his left shoulder. He would have been whacking and like crazy, right?
Are you saying that now, or are you saying that I would have said that?
Right. So in all those good Montreal clips, you probably saw 48. Lane Hutson, he had a heck of a period. He's all over the place on the offensive side, the defensive side, but there's one clip in particular that we marked, and it was him versus Dahlin. The other series in the West was Hughes and Makar. This series, it's been Hutson versus Dahlin, and as you know, they play a man-to-man. Watch 48 in white. He locks on here early, and number 26, Dahlin, is not an easy man to cover. But look at the job he does. He's going to identify and follow, and it's okay in the system that they're playing that he's chasing him all around, but it's good stick, it's good body, it's good awareness, and then the read underneath, jump up, steal the puck, get yourself an offensive chance out of that. He turns a defensive system into an offensive zone chance. He had a great first.
That matchup's interesting. I don't know if you guys had this, but a lot of teams I played on before every round, the coaches would assign you a player, everyone a player, and they'd have to do a little presentation on their tendencies, what kind of player they are. And they would assign you a guy similar, like you would get the goalie, you know, you would get the winger. So I would assume that those two guys would get each other. They would have to do a presentation, Hudson versus Dahlin. It would be like Byram Matheson, Suzuki would get Thompson, Caulfield, Tuck, et cetera, et cetera. And everyone says, just win your matchup. You beat that guy. So when Hudson saw Dahlin, he's like, that's my guy. I got to beat him for us to win.
So I would have Wes McCulley or Jean-Hubert.
Yeah, you'd have Liam, you'd have Biz, you'd have...
By the way, David, 9 power play points for Hudson ties the Montreal franchise record. He'll share that with J.C. Tremblay, Larry Robinson, P.K. Subban, and Chris Chelios. Not bad company. Over to you two.
That is excellent company. All right, Elliot, we talked in the pregame, Kelly, about Nick Suzuki and how the captains step up in these Game 7s. Maybe something not lost on some of his teammates either.
So this morning, Kyle and I had a chance to speak to Jake Evans, and Kyle asked him a great question. If the Canadiens win tonight, who's going to be your best player? He said Nick Suzuki, because he does all the small things well. Look at that first period. Great bat out of the air to Caulfield. Luukkonen has to make a credible save. And then, of course, the great feed to Bolduc that puts them up 2-0. 7 minutes, not great face-off numbers, but everything else you saw from him out there, everything that Jake Evans was talking about.
Martin St. Louis knows that. As you said, the most time for any of the forwards on the Canadiens. What about Philip Danault? Becomes the 14th different Montreal Canadian player to score in this series. The crowd here didn't love it, though. They thought maybe it was kicked in. What's your reaction there?
Well, first of all, some people on social media were asking, should the Sabres have challenged that? This is not a challengeable play, but it is automatically league reviewed. The league reviews every puck that goes into the net to say, does the puck enter legally? I think that's a direction. I have seen much more kicks than that stand. I was not surprised at all that that one was a goal.
And the Sabres didn't seem to argue it too much. All right, you declare yourself the #1 insider in hockey for many reasons, and I guess one of the big reasons is you cover every angle, including the saber-tooth angle.
First of all, I definitely don't declare that. And secondly, yes, sabermetrics, the rappelling in game number 5. Ron, we were talking about would the Sabres be nervous? I think the mascot is the most nervous Sabre. Look at the pacing here before the game. The players look all normal. The mascot looked more nervous than the players.
All right, that's the insider information you're looking for, Ron.
Pretty good. That's a physics lesson from Marty St. Louis. It's called the dead cat bounce. Anyway, single-handedly today, Sidney Crosby, a la Josh Anderson. Beautiful goal for O'Reilly. They won 5-1 over Denmark. They're 3-0. And what Sid does, Josh does for Montreal. Single-handedly on Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs.
This intermission is brought to you by Rogers. The dream goes on. This is our game.
GMC drivers know that not every job site has concrete. Some are carved out by water, weather, and time. The GMC Sierra Pro Graphite answers with power and authority to find footing just about anywhere. Ready for the moments you only get by being there first. GMC, we are professional grade.
Twisted Tea celebrates all hockey fans. Guys, check it out. No matter who you cheer for. When it comes to our love for hockey and the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea, we're all on the same team. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Good times with a twist.
To mold a new reality, closer to the heart, closer to the heart.
Answer the call. Volunteer with Ontario Corps.
He's the CTO, Chief Tough Officer.
He doesn't really do meetings. He does torture tests on glues and tapes.
We don't always know what he's gonna do, but we know it'll be tough.
He demands legendary adhesion. So when a product survives him,
it's ready.
Gorilla Glue for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
So with Rogers Xfinity, you can pull up games, stats, and scores. Blue Jays. Springer Dinger.
May I? Davis Schneider's mustache.
It's beautiful. The technology is amazing.
The Stanley Cup Playoffs Sportsnet. Brought to you by Rogers. And presented by Instacart.
The big board presented by Bet365, official partner of the
Stuff's
NHL.
good. That was good.
Just right.
Good to show.
Just want to make sure that Elliot got you there in my ear. Good. Listen, big day Wednesday. Jake Allen will be making a cameo on Hockey Night in Canada. Lovely to have Jake with us as we present Colorado-Vegas Game 1. That's Wednesday here on Hockey Night. You see the game time 8 ET. The big board presented by Bet365, official partner of the NHL. You can download the app today. So, PWHL Walter Cup. Here's the first goal by Montreal Victoire. Haley Scamora scores this, as you see, in the third period late. But Ottawa has just tied it. Peyton Hemp. We were just seeing this goal for the first time, so these games have been ultra tight. 1-1, the Victoire and the Charge. Montreal's up 2-0 in the series, can claim the Walter Cup tonight. We'll get it back to Chris, Craig, and Kyle. And the second period at KeyBank in Buffalo on Hockey Night after this.
The playoffs almost over?
Believe it or not, we're just getting started. It's round 2. Expect the unexpected. The top contenders, they're dropping the hammer. And everybody's totally unhinged. It's poetry on ice with bruises and bad intentions.
I love that analogy.
It's really more of a metaphor. The boys are buzzing, the drama's unfolding, and the heroes are rising. And just when you think it's closing time...
This is Body Armor. Real hydration with electrolytes, no colors from artificial sources, and coconut water. Choose Body Armor.
Glowing. In morning mayhem. That's Positively Radiant. Designed to target tone, texture, and dullness in one bottle. Enhance your natural radiance with Aveeno Positively Radiant.
When you've been in Canada for 240 years, you get around. Because it doesn't matter what it's in. It matters where it's from. Molson, everyone in.
Gangsters, warlords, monsters.
Are you scared? You should be.
Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu in theaters and IMAX Friday.
Burger King Canada invited fans and skeptics to try their elevated Whopper, new fries, new nuggets, and new onion rings.
Not what I remember. This is actually really good, man.
Told you.
It's so good.
Burger King over everything.
Wednesday, Hockey Central sets the stage as the Western Conference Final begins. Through 2 rounds, they've lost just once.
Series over!
The Avalanche are 4 wins away from the Stanley Cup Final.
Hungry for another championship.
But now, they battle a Golden Knights team built for playoff adversity.
They score!
Stanley Cup pedigree on both sides. 2023 champion Vegas faces 2022 champion Colorado. You just have to watch the Stanley Cup playoffs on Sportsnet. This game is brought to you by Rogers. The dream goes on. This is our game.
With Nicorette, I'm finally quitting for real. I'm facing the cravings, the triggers, refusing to give in. That's real quitting. The journey wasn't easy, but real freedom is worth it. With Nicorette, you're up to 2 times more likely to quit. Nicorette, quitting made real.
Only to be used by adults who are trying to quit smoking. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is highly addictive.
Saw the glorious wins and heartbreaking losses again. Stream Friday Night Lights now on CBC Gem. We remember back in Game 2, Phil Deneau took care of Alex Newhook's pregame coffee. He scored twice. They won. Did the same in Game 5. The Canadiens won that one here as well. And then tonight on the right, again, Deneau doing the honors for Newhook before the game. This time, though, it was Phil Deneau who received the good karma, opening the scoring in Game 7 tonight. Coffee is not cheap these days, but it has become a price Deneau has been happy to pay as the Canadiens lead by 2 to begin the second period, Chris.
Hoping to serve some pizza at the end of this night. Remember Game 7 against Tampa, the Canadiens held to 9 shots on goal. They hit double digits at 12:34 of that first period tonight. They have not had a shot since they Zach Bolduc goal that made it 2-0.
Well, another reminder of how many different ways you have to find ways to win. And that's really been the messaging, actually, from both these coaches to these 2 young teams of the experience of going through a long playoff run. You're going to have to find a way to get something going when nothing's happening. Look at the Game 5 and 6. They were a mirror image of each other. In Game 5 in this building, it was Buffalo up 3-2. The second period was the key. Montreal scored 3. Game 6, it was the Canadiens up 3-2, and Buffalo scored 3 there. What's the second period got for us here in Game 7?
All right, from the draw, Dahlin goes to work, sweeps it into the Canadian zone, flipped by Deneau around the boards. Samuelson awaits. That shot blocked. It went off Deneau, and that one ends up high over the glove of Dobich. Not sure where it was. And it comes free for Carrier, and the Canadiens get out. Rink wide for Texier. Wraps it in. It'll reach Deneau on the far side. Anderson is on it. Danault looking for a loose puck as Anderson's tied up by Samuelson. Canadiens with the edge and shots on goal, 11-9 after one period. Buffalo with the shot attempt edge at 21-17. There's Doan striding after it, but it is an icing call against the Sabres.
Yeah, I said the second period, and you start off with a shot that you mentioned it, Chris. I don't think Dobish really knew where this was going. He thought he had it for a second. Now he's looking where to go. Did it go in front of me? Just backed himself up in, and just a little bit of a uncomfortable moment there. The key was him getting through the first period. The first period has been his worst of these playoffs. Gave up 9 goals. That's the most of any. His save percentage, Chris, .833. So a big first period scoreless here in Game 7 for Dover.
Hudson trying to hold the zone along the boards and able to work it back in. Now a lead feed at center, and it's knocked off the stick of Ryan McLeod. Back to Samuelson. Noah Dobson there. It's chipped past him. Hudson trying to knock down a bouncing puck. Norris gets on it. That shot played from an angle off Dobish. Spat out a rebound, but the Canadiens get control. Slafkovsky to the near side. Didn't know Dobson was without a stick, but Caulfield helps out to get it out, and Dobson able to retrieve his cue. Lead feed for Thompson. It gets by him. Thompson able to come up with the puck. Dobish couldn't play it outside. And it's flipped away by Dobson. And that just off the side of the net for an icing call.
Well, the one thing in this playoffs Dobish has shown is his ability. I won't use Marty's. I will use bounce back. 5-0 after a loss. Look at the goals against. The last game, the 3 goals against was the most he's given up in one of those games. It's been after a win. And Chris, this is a guy 1-6 after a win, hasn't been able to put more than 1-2 game winning streak together. This is a guy who had 7, 6, and 6 game winning streaks during the regular season. Playoffs are a different animal, aren't they?
He has shown, as have the Canadiens, remarkable resilience. Byram with the puck back into the Canadian zone. Dropping it. Villeneuve across. Zucker just missed. Hot rebound off the board. Zucker trying to jam. And Dobish able to cover without his stick as Jason Zucker comes close. He has goals in each of the last 2.
And another one, a little uncomfortable play for Dobish, but he did a heck of a job of keeping that right foot anchored against the post. You can ask any goaltender the hardest thing, okay, it's coming from behind, and watch, he's got it inside. Now he has to get a little help from behind. Hudson is pushing his skate. Watch as Hudson goes down. He's not pushing for the puck. He's going to push the pad and skate. Keep it anchored so that can't get in. What a great job by Hudson, realizing a tough play for his goaltender to keep the pressure there. He gives him some aid, and then finally the glove gets there to get the whistle.
A little bit of road hockey there for Blade Hudson.
Whatever it takes, right? All hands on deck.
Now a little slide right to Luukkonen. Connor Timmins speeds back ahead of Newhook. Up on the right side, deflected in by Benson. Norris goes after it against Carrier. Josh Norris was 6-0 in the opening period on faceoffs. They're taking a high stick there, and now the penalty is being called. It's not for the high stick, I don't think.
Why?
It was a late reaction by Johnny Bear.
I don't think Johnny Bear could tell whether it was a high stick or not. He just saw the reaction of Norris going down. So he put his arm up. He motioned roughing as opposed to a high stick. But now he's going to have a talk with Wes McCauley as they go. And you could see, no question the blood. Let's get the call here.
Montreal 21, 4-minute high stick in under review.
And that's why Phil Danault is in having a conversation, because if you watch the hand motion, watch Johnny Bear sitting right there. I didn't see that. Did the puck come up?
Yeah, I don't know if there was a high stick.
I didn't see where does the high stick come here? That's Benson's stick, maybe. There is no Montreal stick there. They're going to watch it on the replay. I think this one's coming back. You see the reaction. Obviously, Norris got hit, but watching it live, I was trying to figure out, was it a puck that went up or not? And here's a recall here by Johnny Bear.
After review, number 6 from Buffalo is the one that high stick and
go.
no penalty. Face off outside.
That is the right call, and I love the fact that replay gets it. I know Buffalo fans and the Sabres aren't. But Chris, you watch that live and you go, how did that even happen? Look at Carrier's down. Gooley's stick is waving like a flag. It's up high behind him, and it's just number 6. Benson got in there, tried to get after the puck. He was trying to lift the stick of Carrier and got it right in his teammate's face.
So we play on even strength as Dahlin whips it in. Matheson behind the net with Carrier. Benson after the puck. Now Tage Thompson trying to put pressure on, but it's rolled ahead by Evans. And Newhook sends in. Dahlin back, trying to swing away from Demidov. Reversed it to Samuelson up ahead off Benson. Carrier stepped up on him. Now Thompson in, and the play offside as Krebs tried to stretch out, but was unable to stay onside.
Well, you can see why Lindy Ruff had to make some changes. You look at home ice here with this top line that has now been broken up. It's so hard to get anything going here on home ice when your top guys. You got a 40-goal scorer and a 33 in Tuck. Krebs has been struggling there, so I like the fact that he went for the change in Game 6. It's been a pretty quiet start here. On the road, those 3 games in Montreal, Tage Thompson, a goal and assist, and then a goal and 3 in Game 6. That's why they're staying at a hotel trying to think that they're back on the road again.
Only Gilbert Perreault twice, Danny Briere, Chris Drury with more playoff points than Tage Thompson as a Buffalo Sabre. Here's Bolduc back in. Bolduc with a chance, and look at a note beyond the blue. Kirby Dach still trying to dig it out as the whistle sounds.
Boy, you know, the story of this Montreal playoff run, you think the top line in Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slavkovsky has scored 12 goals, but Chris, 9 of those have been on the power play. So only 3 even strength goals. This grouping, you add Texier to Bolduc and Dach, they've scored 10 goals in this playoff. The only one power play is tonight's by Bolduc. That's 9 even strength goals. You know, it takes everybody to chip in up and down the lineup. And one thing, Marty St. Louis, he took Texier off that line, but you go back to the Tampa series, they were the line that really spurred that round and got things going offensively.
Well, for Buffalo Game 6, Lindy Ruff said everybody played their best game, and you'd think Montreal would be looking to respond the same way in this elimination game for both teams.
You wonder why coaches always say you can't carry momentum over. It is, you know, momentum is such a difficult thing to capture, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. Sometimes it just comes naturally. Sometimes it's a great play that turns a game around. And, you know, it helps when you've got both these coaches, Chris, as players who have lived it. Lindy Ruff, obviously, as a coach, has a lot more coaching experience than Marty St. Louis, but you just really look down your bench and say, where can I find it? You know, what combination can I put together to try to get a spark when you need it the most? And Buffalo needs one now.
Oliver Kapanen back on the ice, has played just over 3 minutes so far. He's out along with Dach and Bolduc. Zach Benson to work. Here comes Benson, the penalty minute leader in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Norris, sharp angle, and that will ricochet back out to center. Power for Timmins. Benson couldn't reach it, but Norris does. He's tied up there. Hudson checking Norris and knocking it back out. There's Thompson trying to work in on Hudson. Can't get by him. Sends it in, and Bolduc knocked that down along the end boards for Hudson. Kapanen plays it out, and then it's bounced back inside the line. Thompson was offside, and now he heads off on a change. Matheson stuffed at center by Dahlin. Here's Dahlin handing it off to Zucker. Good back pressure there by Slavkovsky. A chance perhaps, and that shot doesn't get through. Into the corner for Helenus. Jack Quinn turns. Quinn will leave it for Dahlin, firing that high. Helenus Cycles it back into the corner. Matheson there. Trying to work it ahead and does to Slafkovsky. Now away goes Suzuki, and he'll steer it in as the Canadiens are in the midst of the change.
That's a big change. A minute 44 there for Hudson. He was at the end of a long, hard-working stop-and-start shift, and a really important clear. As you know, in this second period, that long change creates a lot of havoc.
Fans here at KeyBank Center trying to urge their team to get one, to get back within one. Demidov took that away. For the fans in both buildings, so terrific, it's hard to believe that home ice has been a disadvantage in this series. Samuelson ahead, and Tuck deflects that deep. Back goes Carrier. He was kind of knocked off stride there. Alex Tuck back at the line, and that did come out. Close call, and good positioning there by Scott Cherry to make the call. Canadiens with 2 in the first continue to lead by 2.
The Ford, it's a event? Ah, the Ford It's a Big Deal event. Right now, lease this F-150 for $237 bi-weekly. That's like $119 a week.
Life is filled with rewarding stages. Now, your banking is too. The CIBC Smart Account. Get up to $850.
With Rogers Xfinity Internet, my whole house is ready for baseball. So this is where I buy all my memorabilia. Boom! Scott Clement's childhood glove. Mom. She's really come through for me. And this is where I stream everything.
Sweet setup.
It's all for you guys.
Michael, what is this?
Oh, yeah. That's where I keep my modem.
Get Major League Internet with Rogers Xfinity.
Yeah, Wi-Fi just pouring out of that thing.
I'll do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to get us into a playoff spot.
That was just over a year ago at Locker Cleanout. A moment like tonight feeling so far away then for Rasmus Dahlin. He followed that up by being a finalist for the Norris Trophy this season. He said after his 5-point effort in Game 6, I live for this. Now in a Game 7 of the second round, Dahlin and the Sabres looking for some kind of spark as this game nears the midway point, Chris.
13 points for Dahlin in the playoffs. Lane Hudson has got his 14th. We might be watching a Norris Trophy winner this year and a guy who's going to win Norris Trophies in the future on the other side.
Yeah, without question. And just the desire to be in these moments. You don't remember any of the regular season or even individual accomplishments. Your memories of being a player come from these moments. The camaraderie that you get, the family as it grows through a playoff run, and the Sabres and their fans have been pining for this for 15 years, and you could tell that he's wearing it on his face. And a 4-game point streak for him. He's played his best hockey in the latter part of this series.
He's the leading scorer in the series with 9 points, and Lane Hudson has 8.
Again, that is the game, isn't it? The impact of an impactful defenseman who can skate and get up on the rush, and the other great qualities, they both defend so hard, and we've seen that on full display here at both ends.
A lot of jostling there between the 2 17s, Zucker and Anderson. Prior to that face-off, and Luukkonen's got to eat that with Phil Deneau on the doorstep.
Watch up to 4 games at once, only with Multiview. Rogers Xfinity. We got you.
Watch Canada's nightly newscast for the top stories of the day. The National, everywhere you get CBC News. So about 6.5 minutes into the second period. Suzuki a face-off win. Hudson back to Slavkovsky. Nice swivel away there. A centering pass, and Caulfield with another backhand stopped by Luukkonen. It's a couple of backhand shots for Caulfield here in Game 7. He had 3 shots on goal in the opening period. Pounding Byram. Off a stick and onto the stick of Dobson. That ricocheted off Slavkovsky, and Dobish will swipe that away to Hudson. Bouncing for Byram, and now Owen Power. Shaken up in the last home game here, but able to bounce back with a terrific performance in Game 6 in Montreal. Norris in behind the net, it's Quinn. Jack Quinn, sharp angle off the side of the cage. Norris checked by Hudson. Benson trying to get it back. Norris hit along the boards. And now lost possession to Suzuki. Slavkovsky trying to work his way out. Can't do it. Players tumble over each other, and it's Norris in front. Knocked away by Dobson. Back to the line. A shot, and that deflects in front and ends up in the corner off a high stick. And a face-off in the Montreal zone.
Boy, you just sense an opportunity. You got a couple of puck battles that kept plays alive, and watch the battles in front. You don't have to be the biggest player. Benson once again gives Dobson some trouble, and that opens up the lane for the shot for Quinn. Quinn coming off his best game with a couple, trying to go by the ear, just missed it a little bit to the left, but that's one of those shifts that I think if you're Montreal, you're happy you got a whistle with that high stick and playing the puck, because a tired bunch had an opportunity for maybe Buffalo to catch them. Instead, you get fresh troops and another face-off.
So McLeod to take this draw against Jake Evans. And off the face-off, Evans able to work it back for Matheson. And around. Where'd that go? Out of play. And the face-off will stay in Montreal territory.
Well, I can tell you, Chris, you played 7 games against the same team. You know the different face-off plays. And there was a race with Samuelsson and Newhook. Samuelsson, the defender, knew that it was going to be a hard rim to a winger on the side, and he just simply beat Newhook to the play, didn't allow the play to continue. And that's what you get when you're playing against the same guys each and every night. You get to really know their tendencies and try to take advantage of them, or at least thwart them defensively.
So Norris comes on to take this draw. 8-1 so far tonight.
He dominated Danault in the last game. He was 6-1. Danault, amazingly, was 31% on the draw in Montreal.
That never happened.
After 76 in Game 5 here. He was 14-4 here in Game 5, and he was 3-11 at home.
Norris now 80%. Danault is 60%. That shot doesn't get through by Norris. He's tied up by Anderson. Fans begging for a call now here. Buffalo without a power play so far. Montreal's got a power play goal on the night. Rasmus Dahlin can't get it deep. Carrying. Josh Anderson, home free, and it goes high, and he goes heavily into the Buffalo net.
And heavily with an exclamation point. I thought he got right in his ribs, the post, as he slid through. You know, the Sabres risk reward, they're always so aggressive at the offensive line with their defense. If you ever turn it over there, it opens up, and you could see Josh Anderson getting looked at. I thought the worst of it was in his midsection as he went in to the post. Did Samuelsson get him from behind as he's making the shot? Here's the play, though, surveying defensively. Now you see an opportunity. Calls for the puck, coming in all alone. Couple of hard strides, and just lost it at the end as Samuelsson comes down. Does he get into his skates at all? No, he just tripped. He tripped on his own.
Samuelsson reached, but it didn't look like it had any effect.
So a great scoring opportunity to make it 3-0, and the worst for wear is that was a pretty heavy collision with that post.
Kevin Bieksa called for an Anderson goal tonight. He came close there. 8.5 minutes into the second. Tuck in his own zone, surrounded. Now Byron will try and get loose. Owen Power. Alex Tuck. Here comes Krebs over the line. Or excuse me, that's Josh Doan, and Dobish able to cover.
You know, after Game 6, Marty St. Louis said, we got to defend. That's been their calling card throughout this playoffs. Can you defend as a team, as a five-man unit? There's another great example of Gouli just standing his ground, not overplaying this. If you start lunging at Doan, look at the patience by Gouli. There was nowhere to go for Doan. If you take a lunge and try to get after that puck, that's where skilled guys can curl and drag you, put it through your feet. Instead, the patience, build a wall, and then execute a good defensive play.
I mentioned no stats for Gouli in the last game. 3 hits, 2 blocked shots in the first period tonight. Everybody looking to be better. Here's the centering pass, and Caulfield couldn't get loose. Back the other way. Hellenucci stumbled and lost possession. Slavkovsky for Suzuki. Over the line they come. It'll be Gouli in front, redirected by Suzuki, and Luukkonen sharp on that. Back the other way, Zucker and Quinn. In behind the net, Gouli. Bonus lined him up. Gouli able to take the hit, and now it's Caulfield dashing in. Snap that shot off the glove of Luukkonen. Caulfield's had some looks here tonight. That's centered. Dodson will play it back in as Kapanen tags up. Oliver Kapanen, who played the first 4 games against Tampa Bay, and back in the lineup for the first time against Buffalo. Mallenstein digs in. Bolduc got a piece of him. Greenway to the line. That shot incoming went wide. Here's Mallenstein, and he whipped that across the goal mouth. Dobish out of position, and now it sticks to him. He doesn't even realize he's got it.
Boy, a couple of anxious moments for Dobish when you lose track of the puck again off the backboard and coming back the other side. He was a little late reacting to it. Once he did, he was all in. He just slid right across that one wide and right. And this one, as you said, not sure where it is. Hey, look between your legs. There it is.
Only few play hockey the hard way, the selfless way, the Canadian way. They are the real ones, and they drink a real good beer. Real Ones Now. Sleeman, proud partner of Hockey Canada.
Life is filled with rewarding stages. Now, your banking is too. The CIBC Smart Account. Get up to $850.
I like thin ham.
Thin?
Big sliced, honey sweet, when all he wants is a different meat. Thin enough you can see right through me. I wanna make the sandwich of your dreams.
With Rogers Xfinity Internet, my whole house is ready for baseball. So this is where I buy all my memorabilia. Boom! Just got Clement's childhood glove. Mom. She's really come through for me. And this is where I stream everything.
Sweet setup.
It's all for you guys.
Michael, what is this?
Oh, yeah. That's where I keep my modem.
Get Major League Internet with Rogers Xfinity.
Yeah, Wi-Fi just pouring out of that thing.
Martin St. Louis told a great story of his first taste of the playoffs as a player. 2003, they lost to the eventual champion Devils in round 2. St. Louis said the one thing he remembers the night they got eliminated, getting back on the team bus and thinking, I can't believe I have to play 82 games again before I get another crack at playoff hockey. That experience took his game to a new level, and the Canadiens hope to get on the bus thinking about Carolina after tonight and not ahead to next season, Chris.
You wondered if he shared that, you know?
Absolutely.
82 games is a long time to wait when you could be in Carolina next week.
Hey, it's even long when you win the Stanley Cup. You know, it's like you can't wait to get back there again. When you lose, it's twice as long and twice as painful.
Next week, they're hoping to be in Carolina in a couple days.
Fans don't like it, but the defense has the last switch. They get the ability to change places.
Off the draw, almost loose there for Benson, but the puck didn't get there cleanly, and the Canadiens get out. We passed the midway mark of the second period. Lindy Ruff in a Game 7 as the coach of New Jersey against the Rangers in 2023. They ended up blanking the New York Rangers. Didn't score their first goal until the midway mark of the second period. That from the Lindy Ruff journals that he keeps on every game he's coached, so it's a pretty big library. Over the line comes Benson. Tracked there by Demidov, handing it off to Byram. Into the corner. McLeod. Power. Benson. Back to Power. Down low it goes. McLeod behind the net. Coming out in front. Trying to go back door. All the way to the line for Byram. That skips past McLeod, and Matheson gets a stick on it. Second period, long change, and you don't want to get caught for too long. Buffalo pressure. A swing there by Dobish with the goal stick. Doan hands it off. Tuck off the bench. That hit traffic in front. Tuck gets his own rebound. And now Doan swings across. His shot knocked out in front. A backhand stop. A rebound. And a glove saved by Dobish to extinguish the fire.
Man, look at that. Dobish just trying to get out of the traffic. It was just a highway in front of him there. A hard hit by Matheson. He blocked a shot, so Matheson can barely really even play. You've got three bodies in front, and how about that? Great positioning, anticipating the high shot. The rebound as Tuck had come off the bench, so he's the freshest of the bodies out there. He jumps on this rebound, and a guy looking forward to getting off the schneid gets the trapper there of Dobish to make a great save.
He has continued to bounce back.
That was a shift to build off if you're the Sabres, and the fans know it. Can you follow up that shift with another pressure shift and get something going in this game?
Face-off win by Suzuki helps get them out, but Buffalo trying to move back in. Dooley with Helenus on his tail. A pass for Suzuki, unable to click. Jason Zucker's looked dangerous tonight. Around for Quinn, who was dangerous in Game 6. Check there, and Gooley's on the scene. Up for Caulfield. Off the boards, but not out. And now Slavkovsky makes sure it does get out. And swung in by Suzuki. Caulfield on the forecheck. Comes back to the line. Back to Caulfield from the corner. Flipped the sharp angle shot high and out. Well, when their father suddenly dies, two brothers must manage his crime empire without others knowing. Stream Deli Boys now on CBC Gem.
You look at the talk on the Buffalo bench. You talked about Lindy Ruff and his experiences. Don't you think this is eerily similar to Game 1 of the playoffs against the Boston Bruins on home ice?
Look at that, yeah.
Couldn't get anything going, down 2-0, and it was in a couple of minutes span. In the third, it was Thompson with a couple of goals that finally got them going. Kind of feels like the same type of game here in Game 7 of round 2.
They almost blew the roof off the building then. And the fans, you can feel, are anxious to make some noise. Peyton Krebs unable to bust through there. Another good defensive play by Hudson. Around it goes, and Zach Metza steers it behind the net, off the stick of Krebs to Greenway. Jordan Greenway trying to power his way in front. Malenstein back. Texier able to break that up, but it bounced past Anderson, and it stays in the zone. Anderson rides out Krebs. Deneau trying to clear. It's at the line, but not out. And this fourth line for Buffalo bottling things up. There is Greenway, back to Metza. Back for Greenway. Our stick is loose on the ice, and here's a chance, scores! Matthias Samuelsson.
Well, Samuelson scored the game-winning goal in that game one. This is, as you said, a hard work shift for the fourth line. You've got 5 guys in front of Dobish. Dobish just stayed down, didn't move like they always do. The Sabres defense closes in. Samuelson puts this past the leg of Anderson, and a crowd that was nervously watching their home team down by 2 gets some life. Sanderson on the bench trying to get life down for everybody. What a difference a couple of seconds make. A long shift in the offensive zone, pouncing on a loose puck, and just like that, the Sabres are back into Game 7.
That's as loud as this building has been in this series, and I'm not sure it could get louder. Samuelson's had quite a playoff, points now in 4. And he scored in the deciding series against Boston. So 6.5 remaining here in the second period. Now a 1-goal game. Samuelson from Mallenstein and Greenway. A loose puck and Suzuki gets on it. Back to the line. Matheson swings it in. Suzuki taking an extra turn here with Bolduc and Doc. Almost came up with a loose puck there. And now a hit for Byram. A little room for Byram to work in. Sends it across. Chance coming. And that just missed.
Benson in all alone. He took an extra second or 2 to try to wire that where he wanted. Just missed high and wide.
Here's Tuck with a shot that goes high. Darlene steers it back. Tuck on the prowl. His shot blocked. Flipped away. Demidov unable to catch up to that. Darlene was there, and it's right back into the Montreal zone. All the way around as the players lost track of it for a moment. Now flipped away. Newhook trying to get on it. Here's Newhook. Bumped off his stick by Darlene. Into the corner. Evans around for Demidov. He'll leave it at the line. Dooley sends it in. Evans behind the net. Back to Demidov. Canadiens trying to spend some time in the Buffalo zone. Jake Evans to the line. Dooley. One hands it back into the corner. Newhook battles. Gets on the puck against Darlene. Now worked back into the corner, and Demidov tied up by Samuelson. Under 5 remaining here in the second period. Noah Dobson back in, and that was cut off by McLeod. Ryan McLeod out with Tuck. Trying to spin, lost it. Canadiens counter. It's Caulfield in. Caulfield and Luukkonen doesn't know where it is. Under the pad to keep it at a 1-goal game.
Well, Game 7, 1-goal game. Crowd on the edge. A turnover, an opportunity for the 50-goal scorer. Tries to go 5-hole, can't quite get there.
The Ford, it's a event? Ah, the Ford It's a Big Deal event. Right now, lease this F-150 for $237 bi-weekly. That's like $119 a week.
Life is filled with rewarding stages. Now, your banking is too. The CIBC Smart Account. Get up to $850.
Instacart lets you choose your bananas.
Get them just how you like.
I can go for you.
Gary, you don't go up the stairs.
I just need more lift.
No, Gary.
What a time to be alive.
I'm okay.
I got dreams in my head and they won't go. Spirits in my head and they won't go. I got dreams in my head and they won't go. Spirits in my head and they won't go.
Hudson fire, scores!
I got dreams in my head and they won't go. Spirits in my head and they won't go. But the heart still rattles, oh.
want the best? At Brandt, that's the least we can do. Now, for a limited time, lease select John Deere compact construction equipment, including the 17P, from as low as $687 per month. Bank on Brandt.
Well, as if there's tension in Game 7, a Samuelson goal, and now it's a one-goal game. Shots are 7-7, Craig, in the second. It doesn't feel like that.
No, you know, everything is so tight. And what happens when you get a goal on home ice from basically your fourth line? A great individual, hard-working shift. Lindy Ruff comes right back with his top two lines. So, again, the effect that has when a bottom line scores a huge goal, it gets the crowd going, but it gets the bench going, too. These are a couple of key last few shifts for Montreal that quell that momentum, get your game under control. You don't have to take any chances. You don't have to be risky. But, Chris, you can't just sit back and expect to defend a one-goal lead for another 24 seconds.
It's the 12th goal by the Buffalo defense in the playoffs. And 6 against Montreal. Is Matthias Samuelsson one of the most underrated players in the NHL?
You know, his combination coming into this game of blocks and hits was 40. The next closest guy in the series is 22. It just tells you how much he's involved in the play. He's so good physically, and he's shown a good offensive flair as well. He's had a breakout season as well.
Clutch goal, now points in 4. 41 points in the regular season and plus 41. Matheson. Alex Carrier brings it out of the Montreal zone under 4 to go. Nearly sprung Suzuki. And that puck ends up out of play.
Well, you look at the traffic that was in front of Dobish here. You're having another look. Does this hit Greenway at all as it's coming? Yeah, his reaction looked like maybe it did. Oh, yeah, I think it got him right on that back blue. And you know you don't want to be pointing to yourself, hey, that's mine. The league has a look at it. But I can't tell you what it feels like for those fourth-line guys that don't get a whole lot of attention. They don't get a whole lot of ice time, but they know what their role is. And that's exactly it. Caused chaos in front of the net. Greenway does it exceptionally well, and he may end up being the one that gets that goal.
Game-winning goal in the opener of this series. But as you mentioned, doesn't get a lot of ice time. He's under 5 minutes in the game right now at 4:40. But he has played a critical role here to get Buffalo back in it. Anderson will swing it in behind the net. Luukkonen hands it off for Dahlin. That bounces in. Maybe Jack Quinn in front, and it bounced away from Helenius. Worked ahead. Noah Dobson trying to sprint that one off a skate. So no icing. Fans thought there should be, but back the other way. Quinn drives that in and chases after it. Gooley around for Carrier. Not much of Arbor Jacki. Canadiens have been, for the most part, 5D here tonight.
Especially in this second period, Chris. You don't want to get caught. That's a matchup that Lindy Ruff can maybe try to take advantage of.
Here's that fourth line back out. Greenway, Mallenstein. Samuelson's on the move. Leaps it for Krebs and kicked away by Dobish as Mallenstein driving the net. Greenway out of the corner. That goes high. Canadiens under pressure again, but Carrier's got room to move. Off the boards and out at center. Chipped a little further. Demidov from distance. That goes wide, and Buffalo turns it. Mallenstein's got speed. The Delta BC native is in. Around it goes to the far side. Connor Timmins hit there. Suzuki trying to pull away, and out comes Slafkovsky striding in. Slafkovsky wide, tried a sharp angle. Comes to Hudson. His shot right on with Suzuki looking for a tip. Slafkovsky back around it, got past Suzuki. Hudson at the line. A backhand broken up there by Power. Out comes McLeod. Drops for Tuck. Back towards Ryan McLeod. Dahlin fires it the other way, and Doan kept it in at the line, just. And now with a chance, shooting, and he missed high. Close call for Josh Doan. He's got it again. Back to Power, and Dahlin. Here's Dahlin, a shot, hit a leg, and goes wide. Canadiens trying to get out of the final 70 seconds here with a one-goal lead. Power tied up. Caulfield working against him. Loose for top short side. Couple whacks. It pinballs around, and now Caulfield gets it out.
How about the calmness of Dobish there? Didn't overreact, stayed pinned to his post.
Back in again in front. Off a glove, and Dobish able to cover as the ice tilted here in the last few minutes.
Well, it is, and this crowd understands it. Just trying to tie this thing up before the end of the second period. Helenius in his fourth game. He scored in back-to-back. A little bouncing puck that goes over, not able to control in tight. Krebs through a crowd, gets the deflection, and then off the toe. Good position. And then Doan coming right down Main Street. That's about the fourth or fifth that's gone high, Chris, on the glove. And McLeod can't quite control it, and really key there. You've got Suzuki's line that was about a minute 20 in, dead tired, a really important freezing of the puck to get a change.
They have changed the goal. It's Greenway's second. Samuelson and Mallenstein the assist on the goal at 13-19. So 40 seconds left. Josh Norris is in. Centers it. Thompson. Big stop. Rebound. Oh, it's loose in the blue paint. Where is it? And the whistle sounds as they unpile. And Buffalo does everything but tie it.
Well, you tell me the value of being 6'4". Sometimes you need every single inch. Dobic watching it up top. We saw Luukkonen in the first period on Caulfield going one way, falls back the other, and then everybody down. Just Carrier not trying to move. Gouli trying to box out on Thompson. And Dobic just that quick little pushback with his left skate, able to make the first save and then get the pads down to make sure nothing slips through. Benson on the doorstep tried valiantly to get it. What a sequence, and the crowd paying homage to the effort of the home team.
Half minute remaining, and Montreal able to win that faceoff. Up against Norris, Evans bumping it in. Norris now 10-3 in the face-off circle. Canadiens trying to keep it down at that end, but here comes Dahlin. And Thompson. One more attack over the line. Tage Thompson. And a right pad stop. Loose in front of the net. Dobish again. Off Norris on the doorstep. Still time. Thompson trying to come out in front. Deneau takes it away. And the Canadiens survive it.
After that goal, it's been a little bit of a rope-a-dope. Montreal just collapsing back to the front, trying to protect the middle. Look at Norris all by himself, takes two whacks at it, can't get control. Dobish trying to stay tight to the post and then get that pad down once again. And you know how tight it is here. Can't take a penalty. Get a little push and shove, but cooler heads prevail. What a third period coming up here in Game 7.
13 shots on the board for Buffalo. They may have a couple more on some of those scrambles late, as the Sabres cut the Canadiens' lead in half on the goal, now credited to Jordan Greenway. We're through two, and a lot more hockey still to go. Ron and the gang at our second intermission coming up.
That begins with the Buffalo Sabres.
Believe in yourself, believe in your teammate.
Go behind the scenes with one team.
It's all about who's hungrier.
For each round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Quest for the Stanley Cup, only on NHL YouTube.
The NHL app is your place to get every highlight from every series, behind-the-scenes playoffs content, and the most NHL Edge Advanced stats. The Stanley Cup playoffs are better on the NHL app.
Fresh fish.
Whitefish, fresh from the stall. Firm to the touch, no smell at all. Skin off, bones out, thick, not thin. Bring the sea to my kitchen.
What would you like to taste today?
Every coffee, a new world. Every sip, a new taste. Keep exploring with new Virtual Up Nespresso. What else?
Wednesday, Hockey Central sets the stage as the Western Conference Final begins. Through 2 rounds, they've lost just once.
Series over!
The Avalanche are 4 wins away from the Stanley Cup Final.
Hungry for another championship.
But now they battle a Golden Knights team built for playoff adversity.
They score!
Stanley Cup pedigree on both sides. 2023 champion Vegas faces 2022 champion Colorado. You just have to watch the Stanley Cup playoffs on Sportsnet.
With Rogers Xfinity Internet, my whole house is ready for baseball. So this is where I buy all my memorabilia. Boom! She's got Clement's childhood glove. Mom. She's really come through for me. And this is where I stream everything.
Sweet setup.
It's all for you guys.
Michael, what is this?
Oh, yeah. That's where I keep my modem.
Get Major League Internet with Rogers Xfinity.
Yeah, Wi-Fi just pouring out of that thing.
Welcome to the second intermission. Luke Gazdick with Kelly Rudy and Kevin Bieksa. Luke, how about a game comment?
Montreal won the first. Buffalo definitely won the second. You felt that goal coming. They started to push. They got some offensive zone motion going, and they really, really pushed the pace there.
This is more like it. Like in the pregame, I said this is going to be the best game of the series, and now just for drama, it certainly is.
Yeah, but you were really wrong in the first period.
I was.
The first period, this was not
I didn't
the best
think we'd
game.
get 15 whistles in the first.
Yeah, you know, Kelly, I was just going to tell you,
seconds.
the average number of faceoffs in a game is 50 to 60. Saturday night, 56 faceoffs during the game. We're at 41 already.
Oh yeah.
So we're going towards 60 to 70
for
tonight.
sure.
It feels like it too. But that was, remember Justin Bourne used to do those ice tilt segments?
Yep.
Like that was an ice tilt. That was Buffalo tilting the ice and spending minutes of zone time in the offense. And like you said, Luke, this was set up from shift after shift of Buffalo, Benson in particular, making all these plays over the line, defensemen joining, all the controlled chaos that I talked about in the pregame that Buffalo likes to do, like the Golden State Warriors running around, trying to get your guy to like run into another guy and miss coverages. And this is later on in the shift, so if you're Montreal, you know, like you're chasing guys around, and this is when you know Montreal's tired. Right? Watch 3 guys right here. They don't even have energy for a scrum. 3 guys hunched over. When do you ever see that? Like, you have to be very, very tired because you know you're going off the chain. You're so tired you can't even wait to get to the bench to hunch over. And, you know, this is 2 minutes later. So this goal was set up by probably 10 minutes of shifts like this where Montreal's defending. And, you know, all of a sudden Samuelson shoots that one off of Greenway's back because the guy lost his stick. But it was set up over 10 minutes of Buffalo just taking it to them.
Borny's going to love that shutout, eh?
Yeah, right?
Still,
Not going to hate it.
if Montreal has any chance winning this hockey game, shutting it down in the third, I feel like I'm not going to call him Brendan. I'm going to call him Caden. I played with his brother, Brendan. Caden Gooley is going to have a big part of this. He's had a nice 40 minutes so far. He's their most physical D. Arberjacki's not playing a lot, but one thing he brings to the table, on top of a little bit of skill, is the physicality. And he hasn't taken, you know, any crap tonight from any of these Buffalo Sabres. Every time they come in trying to finish checks, trying to finish hits on the forechecks, I just feel like he's had an answer for them every step of the way. This guy does not care. He's smart in the neutral zone. He's smart tracking. One-on-ones, he's done a great job on entries tonight. That was a full-on 4-on-2 that he just steps up and knocks the puck away from Helenius. Then when Helenius tries to take a run at him, he's there for it. This was right at the end of the period, just keeping this thing out of the net, then just sell out, young fella. That thing is not going in the back of the net. He's got 1 shot, 1 assist, 3 hits, 3 blocks for the Habs tonight. Him and Dobson, for that matter, the guy he's been playing the most with, have done a great job.
Kelly, you're going to show Lucan in here, but on Dobish, the active stick, I'm very fascinated because you were paddle down famous. What do you think about his?
sweep check a little bit too much for me today. I get it because he's trying to take away some of those passes, but for me, I'd calm down just a little bit with that. It's a really effective play, but it's a sneak attack. You surprise people with it. I think Buffalo is waiting for it now. And so for Luukkonen, I think one of the reasons why Buffalo is still really in this match is because of the play by Luukkonen, especially early on when Montreal went up 1-0 and then 2-0. If not for some of these great saves from Luukkonen, these guys would be done. They would be complete. They would have been dejected and all these other things because of his play. They recognize they're still in it. You can see Dahlin recognizes that, and there was just so many key saves. I mean, this Anderson play and then Caulfield chances here in the second period. We talked about the importance of this game for Luukkonen, and he hasn't disappointed.
So maybe Dobush will learn about the sweep check, when to do it, when not to. One thing that he's already learned about is don't trust the glass. And even though we're in Buffalo tonight, you know, go back to game 4. This is in Montreal. This puck in the glass. I'm not saying he's casual about it, but he maybe wasn't really threatened by this shot. But now when it happens to you once, you're on full alert. And watch him tonight. This faceoff's going to be won back to Metsä. Everybody knows he's putting this in the glass. He takes his time. It's in the glass. Watch the eyes. I am not trusting anything to chance. I'm following it the whole way. My glove is ready. I'm ready to jump against the post. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Really good. DA, over to you.
Shame on you, Dave.
Shame on Ellie.
For lots of different reasons.
And you called it, Ellie. You said we're finally going to get a really competitive game. It feels a bit like the Tampa series tonight, doesn't it?
No question. And I agree with those guys in the sense that Buffalo really owned the back half of the second period. This building was really quiet. It was really quiet. But after that goal was scored, it completely changed. This place is a buzz.
And Buffalo gets a goal from their fourth line. We might not see so many fourth line minutes from either team come this third period. What are you expecting from Montreal specifically?
I expect Lane Hudson to never leave the ice. He's been excellent tonight under a lot of pressure. Lane Hudson's career high in regulation is 30 minutes and 5 seconds. His career high overall is 32 minutes flat. That was against Game 2 in Tampa in the first round. He's played 19:03 already. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays over half the third period.
Imagine Suzuki, Caulfield, Slafkovsky, all the big boys, and Danault with the 1-goal lead, I imagine.
Danault, excellent, and he obviously plays a lot against Thompson. I don't think anybody should be surprised that Kapanen hasn't played a ton, but I'll say this, like, Bolduc has been very, very opportunistic. He's had chances, he's scored. I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe gets a bit more time than some of the other guys down low.
And two more things to be mindful of, Ron. They talked about the penalty kill, how it suffered in Game 6. Well, so far, so good, because they haven't had a power play opportunity against them, the Canadiens, so that's something to keep an eye on. And the defense jumping up for Buffalo, another thing. They've scored in all but 2 games so far in the postseason.
Can you imagine a power play in this third period, gentlemen? By the way, O-zone possession time for Buffalo in the second, 9:41. That is a huge number and one of the reasons for the Samuelson goal on Hockey Night tonight.
This intermission is brought to you by Rogers. The dream goes on. This is our game.
Life is filled with rewarding stages. Now, your banking is too. The CIBC Smart Account. Get up to $850.
Frustrated at ProLine's lack of sports depth? Well, this ain't the old ProLine. The new app is here. Now with more sports, more leagues, and more matchups. Download the new app today.
With Rogers Xfinity Internet, my whole house is ready for baseball. So this is where I buy all my memorabilia. Boom! Just got Clement's childhood glove. Mom. She's really come through for me. And this is where I stream everything.
Sweet setup.
It's all for you guys.
Michael, what is this?
Oh, yeah. That's where I keep my modem.
Get Major League Internet with Rogers Xfinity.
Yeah, Wi-Fi just pouring out of that thing.
Looks like they brought a couple ringers.
Nice stick. Is that antique?
I'll take that.
Come on, Dougie, you got a back check. Garbage day.
Now you can finally drink out of a cup.
Head-to-head, Nissan wins. That's why we're #1 in new vehicle quality. Rogue goes the distance, up to 800 kilometers per tank. Sentra is the #1 compact car for new vehicle quality. No wonder Nissan is Consumer Guide's most awarded brand 5 years in a row. Experience our award-winning Japanese engineering. Compare and see for yourself. Right now, get financing rates starting from 0%.
Dad, is this Gorilla Tape still gonna hold?
Of course. It's tested by a real gorilla.
What? The tracks!
For the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
Nice to meet you. Hey, so, do you think on it? Look at me!
This is the way. Enter for your chance to win with Orville Redenbacher. The Mandalorian and Grogu, only in theaters May 22nd.
At Source for Sports, we don't just fit teams, we fit towns. We run with the towns that don't mind getting a little snow in their shoes and make jerseys for towns that wear them with pride. Because there was a time when we wore them too. We fit the towns that celebrate big moments as much as they do the little ones. Why? Because we're from these towns.
All new Rock the Block on HGTV.
Welcome back. Stanley Cup playoffs on Sportsnet, presented by Instacart. Get groceries delivered in as fast as 60 minutes. Lots going on in the last 48 hours. Let's get you the PWHL highlight of the night. 55 seconds to go in the game. 1-1 Victoire charge. And it's Rebecca Leslie, scoring the winning goal. Ottawa staves off elimination, so they'll play Wednesday, trailing 2-1 in that series. Want to congratulate Jamie Dowick and the Toronto Rock, their first title in 15 years. The kids, Sam English, Kirst, Hiltz, Keller, Bouchy, the veteran, Rogers, Josh Dowick, Nick Rose, the goalie, great. And to the Niverville Nighthawks from Manitoba, Dwight Hurst is the coach, is a dear friend of Sean Reynolds. The program's just 4 years old. Austin Dubinsky in net. Hayden Wedden had a couple of goals. First time for Manitoba in 11 years they claimed the Centennial Cup. Fourth time for the province, and just a really spectacular effort in Summerside, defeating the Western Capitals. That's the story here. Dobish with a smile at the end of the period, and the crowd in Montreal erupted for that smile. Back to Chris Craig and Kyle after this.
If Connor McDavid and Connor Bedard had childhood ambitions to become architects, CIBC would work with them every step of the way. Or if they wanted to be mechanics, we'd have a personalized plan. Just like we'll have a plan for your ambitions too. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Looks like they brought a couple ringers. Nice stick. Is that antique? I'll take that. Come on, Dougie, you got a back check. Garbage day. Now you can finally drink out of a cup.
I was never the biggest, never the loudest. What I had was work. What you put in is what you get out. And I fuel my body the same way I train. That includes Factor. Every bite, part of the progress. Every meal, part of the work. Nutritionally balanced, made with high-quality ingredients. It's the Factor that can help make a difference.
When pain shows up, Tylenol is on your team. It's like Nathan McKinnon having your back, even when your back doesn't have your back. Tylenol Extra Strength, your pain relief MVP.
Head-to-head, Nissan wins. That's why we're #1 in new vehicle quality. Rogue goes the distance, up to 800 kilometers per tank. Sentra is the #1 compact car for new vehicle quality. No wonder Nissan is Consumer Guide's most awarded brand 5 years in a row. Experience our award-winning Japanese engineering. Compare and see for yourself. Right now, get financing rates starting from 0%.
In Pokemon Pokopia, you see a place you can call home. You recognize the potential to rebuild, nurture, and grow something wonderful. Not just for you, but for all your Pokemon friends who are eager to lend a hand or a green thumb. So make this place feel alive again. Because home is what you put your heart into. Pokemon Pokopia. Only on Nintendo Switch 2.
Your best defense against erosion and cavities is strong enamel. Nothing beats it. Pro Enamel Active Shield actively strengthens the enamel to defend against erosion and cavities. I think that this product is a game changer for my patients. It really works.
This year, we're back for more. More players, more days, more hometown heroes going for it. Welcome back to our tennis playground. Get your tickets now for the National Bank Open presented by Rogers.
I'm back on the hunt to find more outrageous, over-the-top houses. Is this real?
It is.
You like pink?
It's my favorite color.
How does one obtain a caboose?
Zillow Gone Wild, all new Friday night at 9:30 on HGTV.
If this one opens that, you have absolutely everything.
The Price is Right tonight, Tuesdays at 8 on City TV.
Every the game presented by Instacart. Get groceries delivered in as fast as 60 minutes. Well, this week, the French Open tennis major began with its qualifiers, a place where Rafa Nadal won 14 of his 22 majors over his career. No one owned Roland Garros like he did. Jakub Dobeš mentioned to Elliot earlier in this series, he watched a lot of Nadal, admired how later in his career he was so calm and steady in the big moments. A goalie, not unlike a tennis player, all alone with their thoughts at one end of the playing surface. Dobeš can't win a title here tonight, but in this deciding set of this series, he has been calm, he has been steady through 2 periods tonight, Chris.
22 saves for Jakub Dobeš, 5-0 after a loss in these playoffs. Can he keep that unblemished? Got 20 minutes more at least. You know, all Game 7s aren't as big as the hype, but this one might exceed it.
It's been a good one, and you can tell it's only just begun. This third period, buckle up.
And you mentioned the first game against Boston when Buffalo trailed and rallied in the third period. Not as big a deficit to start this third period, an offside call.
So during the regular season, they were 4-15-3 were the Sabres when they were down going into the third. They're 1-4 in the playoffs, and that one was game number 1. And, you know, you learn your lessons along the way. I think what, for Lindy Ruff, his team learned in that second is it's about stacking shifts up. Can you build off of each other? And I'm sure for Marty St. Louis, it said, guys, we got to play hockey. We've got to make plays under pressure. We've got to stay aggressive, be in good defensive position, but we've got to get in on the forecheck and spend some time in the offensive zone.
Like right now, of course, it's not the long change, so maybe harder to get stuck. Dobson with a shot that breaks a stick, but Buffalo gets away, and now over the line comes McLeod. Rick wide, and that got knocked down by Suzuki. Shot attempts really told the story in the second period, 37-13 in favor of Buffalo. There's Caulfield deflecting that in. He has 5 shots in the game. Darlene ahead. Helenius rubbed out there by Anderson. Caden Gooley up ahead, and Phil Deneau, who started proceedings tonight, is on the ice. Texier's had a chance, and now Anderson over the line. Both have had breakaway opportunities in this game. And a stick by Deneau comes up. And the Buffalo Sabres early in the third will get their first power play of the game.
And a double whammy here, too. Offensive zone penalty, a Haight as a head coach. Your best centerman in the draw, one of your best penalty killers. And just a minor, fortunately, just an errant stick up into the face. A penalty you just can't take, and you can sense the anticipation in this room. Chris, a power play that was such a problem down the stretch for Buffalo finally has been one of its best assets in this round.
4 for 6 in Game 6. Only the second time this year Buffalo had scored 4 power play goals in a game. They did it in that wild affair against Buffalo, but they won 8-7. Canadiens get a quick clear. One thing's for certain, if there's any infractions, the crowd is going to help the officials here in the third period. There's a lot of referees in the building. Here's Tage Thompson over the line and now sent around by Doan. After it was Benson. Benson from the corner. Benson, a game-winning goal on the power play earlier in the series. Thompson sizes it up. It's Quinn, and Dobush fought that off. At the line, Quinn will bounce that across for Thompson. He is tied up there. Puck came back in. Buffalo's got to clear the zone.
Smart play there by Matheson. He knew that the Sabres couldn't touch him there. Instead of just throwing it down, took off a few more seconds and able to finally get the clear. Smart play.
Well, almost a minute into this Buffalo power play with one of Montreal's best penalty killers in the box. Scrum there, and Gouli knocks down his man, Zucker, and Montreal gets another clear.
Well, there's Gouli again. I think it was Luke talking. What a series he's had, and just real good, intense battle to win that puck battle and clear.
In comes Tuck. 10 shot attempts to lead everybody in that department. Byron lost it, and Evans forces it out. Gets it across to Newhook. Alex Newhook off a leg, and it bounces across to the far side. Couple dozen seconds remaining, and the penalty to number 24 of the Canadiens. Here's McLeod over the line. Tuck. Pump there, and once again, Canadiens doing a terrific job on this penalty kill, their first of the game.
Well, and Elliott talked about the effect it has on the crowd anticipating just a wonderful penalty kill to take them out of it. Now you got to get back to 5-on-5.
There's a late chance here, puck deflecting in behind the net, and Montreal back at full strength. One shot for the Sabres on that power play, unable to get the shot they needed to tie the game. That fourth line comes back out. Around it goes, and out of the reach of Byram. 4 minutes into the third. In comes Power. Kicks it across, and that shot turned back behind the net. Jordan Greenway, who again was credited with the Buffalo goal. After it is Doc. Up ahead, it's Suzuki. Off the boards, not out, and that went off Dobush from distance. And the Canadiens sent it 200 feet, icing Montreal.
Watch up to 4 games at once, only with Multiview. Rogers Xfinity. We got you.
So, Chris, only Kirby Dach has been out for 25 seconds. All 4 other guys are in that minute range, so they're trying to take as much time as they can, get their breath back, and they'll get a little bit more time as a quick drop gives them a little bit extra to get their breath. It's been a lot of hard hockey, hasn't it?
There's a Buffalo face-off win. Moving to the inside, Dahlin shooting, and that off. Traffic in front as Dobush fought it off with Sabres all around. A glove pass to Deneau, which is okay in the defensive zone, and sent back into Buffalo territory. Benson lost it to Deneau. Matheson across. 15 minutes left in regulation time. Feels like next goal might be decisive. Demidov trying to twist away from checking. Evans along the boards. Flicked back by Helenus. And there is Hudson. As Elliott mentioned, likely on his way to a 30-minute night. Mike Matheson to work. He'll come in with Newhook. The shot missed the target. Demidov on the far side looking for it. Byram off the boards. That's cut off. Kicked in. Newhook, a quick pass. Back to Matheson. His shot off the post. Back to the line, Hudson. Matheson reloads right on. Newhook Back up top to Suzuki. Canadiens with some pressure. Here's Demidov in front, and that doesn't get to the intended target. Buffalo comes back. Helenius is in. Across Byram, and he set that wide. Jack Quinn in the slot. Helenius, Byram blocked. Byram again across, and it's grabbed, and Dobish was knocked down in the goal crease as he reached back for a puck that was behind him. And John Hebert says, no penalty.
How's that not a penalty? What a play. Puck handling at one end. You remember game 2, Matheson with a wrist shot that ended up in the back of the net. Dobish getting an explanation here. Here's just a great shot through traffic again. Beats the goaltender, but not the post. Crossbar and out at the other end. Dobish, rebound there for the taking, able to hold on. Then comes the contact right there. That should be a penalty.
If Connor McDavid and Connor Bedard had childhood ambitions to become architects, CIBC would work with them every step of the way. Or if they wanted to be mechanics, we'd have a personalized plan. Just like we'll have a plan for your ambitions too. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Only few play hockey the hard way, the selfless way, the Canadian way. They are the real ones, and they drink a real good beer. Real ones now. Sleeman, proud partner of Hockey Canada.
The Ford, it's a event? The Ford, it's a big deal event. Right now, lease this F-150 for $237 bi-weekly. That's like $119 a week.
At Cal Tire, we help you save big with free rotations, our price match guarantee, 0% financing, and free flat repairs. We've got you covered. Corner to corner, coast to coast.
$3,995 a month. That's what it costs to lease a John Deere 210V excavator from Brandt. Maximize your earning potential. Minimize your investment. Select in-stock units only. Bank on Brandt.
Shake off winter and roll into spring. Your spring checkup starts at Jiffy Lube. Find your nearest location at jiffylubeservice.ca.
Kelly's talked a lot about the mind of Dobish and dealing with the emotions that he's had. Okay, a pretty contentious play where I think most of us thought should have been a penalty as Zucker goes right in. Might have sold it harder than he needed to. Maybe that's why he didn't get it. But during the commercial time, it's business as usual. Had a little talk, got an answer, and then went right back to the way he prepares for the game. You know, that's about moving along, getting yourself redialed in. Can't go backwards.
Great reaction, clearly not buying what the referee was selling.
I don't think he needed to sell it nearly as hard. The contact was there right off the
Clearly. There's Tuck again, and that's off Dobish and out.
Well, you wonder with Alex Tuck, you just trying desperately to get something going. You know, you're now 6 games and 2 periods into this round. You haven't got anything. He had points in 5 of the first 6 games in the Boston series, 4 goals, 2 game winners. And you know you're a leader. You know the importance of trying to get something done. It wears on you emotionally. You just got to get out there, get skating, as Lindy Ruff said. Hasn't been using his speed as much as he needs to.
Up to 27 shots in the series, and that leads everybody. Owen Power down low. Scores! Rasmus Dahlin!
Kevin in the pregame talked about man-to-man coverage. Watch Doc. He goes to the man that Bolduc has. Your man is on the flank there. Instead, as soon as 2 guys go to Power, you've got pressure from the backside. Doc goes down. That leaves Dahlin wide open, and he goes short side. That's a tough shot to make. No hesitation. Cross your body. D to D again. So much a part of the offense for the Buffalo Sabres, and here we go. Tie game. Plenty of time to go.
Fourth goal of the playoffs. Dahlin opened the scoring in Game 6, and he has the equalizer here in Game 7. Flashing his Norris Trophy finalist credentials here. And the 2-goal Montreal lead has disappeared. Here's Slafkovsky, and a shot that whistles out of play as he had a good look to regain the lead for Montreal.
Again, the challenge of coverage man-to-man is you have to have faith that your teammate has his assignment. And as soon as Doc saw that Power maybe had an inside route, he went in to go down. Not much emotion from Marty St. Louis. Look at the difference there, though. You could have had a power play for the Montreal Canadiens on what should have probably been a penalty on Zucker. Well, what does Buffalo do? Comes right back and ties the game after.
Now Deneau wins a draw. Hudson couldn't get it through, and it bounces back down into the Canadian zone. So Montreal's had success on the face-off plays in this series, but it's a face-off play that leads to the game-tying goal for Dahlin and the Sabres. Here's Texier at center. Back into the Buffalo zone. Texier turns it across for Hudson. Wayne Hudson. Noah Dobson shooting right on. Punch back to him. Dobson looking for his first Stanley Cup playoff goal. Deneau. He sends it to the side of the net. Knocked into the corner. And out comes Buffalo. Helenius to Zucker. Back for Consta. Helenius. And kicked away by Dovish. A centering pass. And that's swung past Timmins. Deneau at the end of a shift. He'll bounce it in. Trying to get exactly that. Luukkonen to cover. And a face-off in the Sabre zone.
Love the NHL? Bet99 Sportsbook and Casino brings every shot, goal, and storyline to life. Experience it your way. Download the Bet99 app.
Boy, what a different temperature this game all of a sudden has. And now every shot so heavily contested. Helenius, who's had some good chances in all 4 games that he's played, a little stop back, able to get the shot.
Off the draw, Demidov with it. He put it in front. Evans tied up. Gooley tries to send it back in deep. Played by Samuelson up the boards, and here's Tuck. Up to 11 shot attempts in the game. Demidov up high off the glass. Comes to the point. McLeod covering there. Now Timmins send it right on. Evans trying to get it out of there. Taken away by Samuelson. Samuelson knocked down there by Gooley. Gooley continues to battle. A broken stick. Timmins across. Ryan McLeod trying to shimmy past Demidov. Demidov with the check, and now Evans takes over. Up the boards, glove down there. And Gooley got a stick, but now hits back to the bench on a change. Mike Matheson, just think about that crossbar just moments before the equalizer. Canadiens were trying to change. Carrier stays out to make that play. And now in for Benson. Zach Benson. Broken stick. Disrupting the play in behind the net. Suzuki. Matheson. And now worked ahead. Here comes Nick Suzuki. Plays it back to Matheson. Down low. Slafkovsky fired down. Loose in front. And Luukkonen covers.
I think both these coaches will be trying to send the message. You've seen the battles in front, trying to get position, get into the eyes of the goaltenders, but too often you pass up shots from the outside. I think that's Slafkovsky looking for a rebound. The rebound was there in a second, but watch Owen Power. Once he realizes the puck, he's just making sure he wins that first battle, gets inside on Caulfield so that his stick can't get there, allows his goaltender the freedom to get on and pounce on that rebound.
Suzuki and Krebs Won by Buffalo and Byram. Greenway. That'll bounce out. Fourth line against top line. It's Mallenstein, and it goes off Hudson in behind the net. Retrieved by Krebs. Here's Byram shooting, and that's in. Was there a whistle? Waved off.
Whistle went. Wes McCauley was right on the doorstep. You could hear it before. And Chris, unlike a continuation, if it had gone through the pads and was rolling in when the whistle happened, that goal would count. Wes McCauley lost sight of it, blew his whistle clearly. Have a listen. Judge for yourself.
So the temperature continues to rise.
Life is filled with rewarding stages. Now, your banking is too. The CIBC Smart Account. Get up to $850.
The GMC Sierra Pro Graphite delivers power and authority to find footing just about anywhere. GMC, we are professional grade.
Rover, go on, get me my slippers. Rover, the slippers. Ah, silly dog.
So much for silly Doug. Red Bull gives you wings.
You don't just fuel your body, you fuel your drive. We're not here to preach hustle. We're here for the ones who show up. You know who you are. The moms who make mornings feel like magic. The runners lacing up before the scroll. The dreamers writing it down before it's real. And we're here for you. Real fruit, real fuel. Booster Juice. Fuel for what's next.
It's Miller time. When the clock seems to slow down. And to appreciate it, Miller Lite's got great taste in all 90 calories. It's Miller time.
On a spin days in 2018, the Sabres ended up with what has become two franchise pillars as they've emerged from the darkness. They drafted Rasmus Dahlin first overall that June. July 1st, made the Ryan O'Reilly trade. They brought in Tage Thompson, among others, in return. They've watched many teammates come and go in the years since. They wanted to be part, though, of seeing this through. Dahlin's biggest goal as a Sabre has tied this here in Game 7, Chris.
Boy, his leadership has been impressive. Just missed Thompson with that lead feed. Icing against Buffalo.
Well, you see players like that now all of a sudden understand the effort level and the level of every game and the back and forth and the battles that you have to have. You know, skilled guys like top players, and it's been a Norris nominated year for Dahlin. They start to thrive in it. You start to feel comfortable in these moments. It's not bigger than you. You realize, hey, it's still just a game, and he's loving to compete in it.
2 goals, 6 points in Game 6 and 7. The most by a defenseman since 1976 when Ian Turnbull had 6 in Game 6 and 7 against Philadelphia. Here's Matheson. Down low it goes, Demidov back, and a shot that's turned aside by Luukkonen. Evans unable to glove it down at the line, but he'll bring it back. Newhook on this left wing. Back around for Evans. Demidov's in front, can't reach it. Benson there. Now it's Newhook. Knocked off his stick. Throws it at the net, and it goes wide. Gooley moves up. Gooley tried to center. That goes off Dahlin. And it's Josh Norris on it. End of a shift for the Sabres as it's rolled in. Lane Hudson to work. A flip in just wide of the net. Doc after it. Bullduk on it. But away goes Alex Tuck. Red line and in. Hudson gets back, and on his back was Tuck. Took it away. Byram trying to shake the checking of Bolduc on his backhand in deep and set that out of play.
Another trouble in coverage. As soon as the crisscross up top, we saw it on the tying goal. Here you go again, up at the top, and it's Bolduc who loses that positioning. That time Doc was having nothing to do with going down. That time might have been an opportunity to help him out. So it's a split-second coverage thing that the head coach wanting to see that again and say, what did we miss? What can we check off there? The tying goal was a miscommunication and misplay. Almost ended up in another one here.
Shot 7-2 here in the third, Buffalo. And the shot attempts of the game, 72-42 in favor of the Sabres.
And it feels like it, doesn't it?
It does.
You know, you mentioned before, after the 9 shots in the Game 7 against Tampa, a good first period, but Montreal has not put pucks.
Centered, Dobish, huge save off Helenus in front. What a chance for the Sabres rookie.
Boy, the puck kind of finds him, doesn't it? And one of the reasons why Lindy Ruff put him in. A good forecheck by Zucker. He wins the puck battle, and then you see Carrier just a little bit late. And Helenus, who in the American League, Chris, has 5 goals and 9 points in 11 playoff games, so he's no stranger to this kind of atmosphere.
Off the draw, Montreal able to control and flip it away. They were not worried about his offense, but in this kind of series, a little worried about the defensive play. Lindy Ruff said he watched every defensive shift in his first game, and the kid passed all the tests.
Yeah, he sure has, hasn't he? Well, remember his first game, he was out in the dying seconds.
Here in the Olay start, Slavkovsky dumps it in. Suzuki after it, put it in front. It'll come back to Hudson. And across. Dobson rink wide. Bump back to Hudson again. He'll send it to the net. Deflected down wide of the cage. Slavkovsky after it. Suzuki got a stick on it. Caulfield worked over. Stays on it. Suzuki trying to run a little interference there. Furious board battle. Comes loose for the Sabres. Darlene worked it ahead. And now Greenway. Rolling it down. Mallenstein after it. He'll try and get a piece of Hudson, who absorbed the hit. Tries to stay on the puck. Now back for Samuelson. Here's Samuelson sending it wide. Caulfield battling to get it out, and now Hudson follows up and gets it out. Slavkovsky at center. Thompson took that away. And now back to Hudson, who I think would like to get off the ice. Or maybe he'll just stay for the rest of the game. Ahead to Newhook. Alex Newhook can't pull the trigger. Then backhands it wide. Norris bumped. Kept in at the line. That bounces to Luukkonen off the end boards, and he'll cover.
Well, right now, everything to the net. You just get it to the net. Doesn't matter how hard, because when you get the opportunity, Hudson getting pressured, a soft shot, but it's the tip that can be the most dangerous. You can see Timmins trying to get into the block. Slavkovsky able to get a piece of that, and I think this is no time right now, Chris, to pass up anything going to the front of the net. Every single Sabre shift in the offensive zone, there's 1 or 2 guys in front of Dobish. Canadiens have to follow suit at the other end.
Evans battling, but McLeod wins it. At the line, it does come out. Gooley, Demidov back in, onside. What a linesman here didn't agree with that.
We got refs and linesmen. They're voicing pretty loudly, aren't they?
Boy, the environment in both buildings, really so memorable.
Good. How do you not love as a player playing in this?
Evans couldn't break through. Now Gooley will just send it in. Texier on the forecheck. Byram had trouble with it. Turned over. Anderson cycles to Texier. There's Texier. Back into the corner for Deneau. Nice move there by Deneau. Trying to get to the net. Deneau now to Matheson. Back in behind the cage. Anderson can't reach it. He's working against Byram. Along the boards. Tuck able to redirect, and away goes Ryan McLeod. Here's McLeod working in. Looking back, Dahlin on the move again with a shot right on. Rasmus Dahlin, after Buffalo came that close on a whistle that wipes out what they thought was the go-ahead goal.
If Connor McDavid and Connor Bedard had childhood ambitions to become architects, CIBC would work with them every step of the way. Or if they wanted to be mechanics, we'd have a personalized plan. Just like we'll have a plan for your ambitions too. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Instacart lets you choose your bananas. Get them just how you like. Instacart lets you choose your bananas. From green to extra ripe. Use the app to control your banana. What a time to be alive. I can go believe. What a time to be alive. Sweet, get it. I'm good. No, we go again.
The Ford, it's a big... It's a... event? Ah, the Ford It's a Big Deal event. Right now, lease this Explorer for $258 bi-weekly. That's like $129 a week.
Dad, is this Gorilla Tape still gonna hold?
Of course. It's tested by a real gorilla.
What? The tracks!
For the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
Looks like they brought a couple ringers.
Nice stick. Is that antique?
I'll take that.
Come on, Dougie, you got a back check.
Garbage day. Now you can finally drink out of a cup.
It's been a great series, but we had to wait to Game 7 for the best game of the series. Who's headed to Carolina? Here's Zach Benson. Carrier all over him. Knocks him off stride. Matheson leans in. Thompson comes away with it. And Carrier stays with it. Bump back to the line, and Dahlin breaks his stick. He's got to go off. Thompson tried to jam. And now it's Slafkovsky turning. Striding through center along with Suzuki. Who will flip it in. Slafkovsky after it against Samuelson. And now it's Caulfield as it came out in front. And it's tapped to the boards. Out comes Quinn. Jack Quinn's in. Knocked down by Hudson. Noah Dobson. Suzuki flipping that to the line. Flipped down by Byram. Caulfield trying to take it away from him. 4:04 left in the third. And Bowen Byram up with the puck. Up ahead it goes Zucker. Quinn. And in front, Demidov came across, and he is flying down that right side. Ivan Demidov across, and it doesn't reach Evans. Byram got a stick on that. Back the other way, Helenus. At the end of a shift, flips it in.
Another example, shoot the puck. You got bodies going to the net, a long pass that creates nothing and gets you back playing defense again.
Carrier now sending it in. Demidov after it, it got by him, and out comes Doan. At the red line, stood up by Newhook. Evans can't get it past Timmins. Rink wide, it goes to Doan. He'll send it in diagonally, and it topped the stick of Tuck. Demidov wants a change. He'll play it to the Buffalo line. A lead feed, and Tuck's loose. Alex Tuck's in. Back to Dahlin, and his shot ends up out of play. Have to be wary of 26 coming late every shift.
Boy, any kind of loose puck play, a good forecheck by Slafkovsky creates a quick little turnover. You can see Powers got his stick in so that Caulfield can't get control, and Dahlin dangerous yet again, just trying to wait that one through for the lane to open up. Anderson able to get his stick in. Great defensive shift there by Demidov coming back and breaking that up. But going the other way, message from St. Louis, shoot that puck, get it to the net. No such thing as a bad shot in this kind of situation.
Here's a race for it. It's Josh Anderson in. And Luukkonen with a stop off Anderson, who gets a second breakaway chance. Not a lot of time to work with there. Here's Tage Thompson back. In behind the nets. Battling for Benson. Up against Hudson. A shot by Thompson. And a rebound onto the stick of Texier. Bouncing that back in. Boy, the speed of Anderson on display there, and he nearly came up with the biggest goal of his life. Now Malenstein digs in. Up against Gooley, who kicked it loose. Neatly, Montreal's out. Here they come through center. Slavkovsky left wing. Curls inside the line. Couldn't get it deep. Back the other way, Greenway. Jordan Greenway centered. It'll bounce across, and now Montreal trying to turn it. They don't. And Buffalo back on it. Timmins shot. Hit Krebs in front. Played to the line and out. Caulfield knocked down under 2 minutes left. Here in the third. Tied at 2. An absolute beauty of a Game 7. Jack Quinn turned but lost possession, and Demidov there again. Bouncing it through center. Jake Evans gets it to the end boards and goes after it on the forecheck. It's played past Newhook and slides back. Next goal wins territory now. Alex Carrier works his way in, fires it around. Evans looks for it along the near boards. Up against Samuelson. And Doan starts out. McLeod slowed up. Hudson takes over. Final minute, third period. Have not had overtime in this series. And did Texier touch it? No. Icing. Montreal.
Boy, an icing for Gooley. He knows that Anderson got his speed going right off the bat, anticipating this type of play, just took off up the middle, didn't even look for the puck. The hang time pass gets there, and we've seen twice now, again, after the play at the net, he never seems to be able to keep his balance, tried to chip it up and over. Luukkonen able to shut the door.
A face-off. The win by Buffalo led to the tying goal. Canadiens have a slight edge, and off that draw, Sabres got control, but are forced back out. Deneau plays it to the Sabre line. 40 seconds left. Tage Thompson digs in after it. Matheson gets there, ties it up along the boards. Comes loose for Texier, a bouncing puck. Benson gets it back at center. Norris scoops it in. Thompson on Matheson. Matheson trying to regain possession. Suzuki off the boards. Flipped away by Texier. And now he'll get it deep. Time running out in regulation time. Game 7. We're going to sudden death overtime. The Sabre captain with a goal at 6:27. His 4th of the playoffs. And Carolina Hurricane fans celebrating as they wait for an opponent in the Eastern Conference Final. Gotta wait a little longer.
If Connor McDavid and Connor Bedard had childhood ambitions to become architects, CIBC would work with them every step of the way. Or if they wanted to be mechanics, we'd have a personalized plan. Just like we'll have a plan for your ambitions too. CIBC. Ambitions made real.
no markups at select retailers on Instacart. Fees and exclusions apply.
Endless Shrimp is back because you've been asking a lot, and we made it happen. Pick 3 to start, then mix it up endlessly. Walt's favorite shrimp.
Endless.
Garlic shrimp.
Endless.
Shrimp linguine Alfredo.
Endless.
And new Marry Me shrimp. All
endless.
Endless Shrimp is back by popular demand. But hurry, Endless can't last forever. Only for a limited time. Only at Red Lobster.
Head-to-head, Nissan wins. That's why we're #1 in new vehicle quality. Rogue goes the distance, up to 800 kilometers per tank. Sentra is the #1 compact car for new vehicle quality. No wonder Nissan is Consumer Guide's most awarded brand 5 years in a row. Experience our award-winning Japanese engineering. Compare and see for yourself. Right now, get financing rates starting from 0%.
Say you get a surf shack on Airbnb. Now you can also get a surf lesson with a pro surfer. Or if you get a place in Mexico City, you can also get a taco tasting with a food critic. Homes, experiences, and services. Now you can Airbnb more than an Airbnb.
Coming over tonight? Yeah, last time was wild. What if we add a third? Hey, Bob.
Poor Bob. They mean playing on Bet99 Casino. Poor Bob.
How you like your new Trek stock?
Oh, it's beautiful. I wish I'd done it sooner.
Thought about Treks, but I've never minded doing a little maintenance. It's rewarding.
Well, whatever floats your boat.
Trex, performance engineered for your life outdoors.
What a Monday, what a night. So if I was to say the most famous musician out of Buffalo, New York, probably Goo Goo Dolls would be top of the list, but I would say Grover Washington Jr. Familiar with him?
Yeah.
Smooth jazz before your time, Luke, but he had a hit, Just the Two of Us. Beautiful song. Go listen to it tonight. You got it.
That's it?
Yeah,
that's Grover Washington.
So Bill Withers does the vocals on it, but it's for the Sabres and the Habs tonight. It's their song, and what a game. Kev,
Please don't sing anymore.
You don't like that? I'm still going with Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah.
Sorry, my generation. So 2 thoughts. First of all, both teams are playing 5 defensemen. Jack-Eye hasn't played a shift in the third, neither has Metza, so it's 5D. So you start to wonder, somebody making a mistake, maybe because they're overtired. Another thing, I played in 1 Game 7 overtime, and the message in between the third period and overtime was, who wants to be the hero? Right? You think about it, you're an instant hero and think about the memory of scoring a game-winning goal in overtime in Game 7. I don't care what round it is, you're a hero. That's what everybody has to be thinking about. Positive energy, who's going to be the hero?
It looks to me like Buffalo, they have more legs right now. Montreal looks a little bit more tired to me, and maybe because of what you've said about going down a D. Buffalo just looks like they're pressing more offensively.
I'll take the goalie angle then. Both goalies have played outstanding.
Yes, they have.
Honestly, both guys are kicking. They've made some outstanding saves throughout this entire game, and they've both kept it in it for each respective team.
Just on the 5D, it was amazing to me that it was Darlene that Anderson dusted. You're going to get to that in a bit.
Dusted.
But it was incredible. And Samuelson, two guys who can wheel. Just another thing about who's going to be the hero. The most recent Game 7 to go to overtime is May 2024, Toronto-Boston. The winning goal, David Pastrnak, a star. Before that, the 2-7 overtimes were same night, New York Rangers Pitt in 2022, May 15th, 4-3 OT winner, Panarin. And Calgary played Dallas in Game 7. You probably did that game, Kel.
No, I was here. Johnny Gaudreau.
Johnny Gaudreau.
Yes.
So great players stepping up in moments like that. Might be for your
my Game 7 was your favorite Canuck, Alex Burrows.
For
and
sure.
that was the most memorable moment, the most fun and jubilation I've ever had on the ice after a game. So the goal that's going to allow us to recreate this memory, it starts with a face-off, and Buffalo's really flipped the script on face-offs in this series. Watch McLeod. He's going to be on his forehand, his offside. He's going to smack the puck to the wall and go get it himself. This is Sidney Crosby. He was the first guy Maybe not the first guy. Joe Thornton did it a little bit, but certainly Sid perfected it. And now it's going to be a double D down the wall, and McLeod's going to be the one covering. Darlene goes down the wall, and I don't mind what Doc does. I know it's a man-on-man system, but off a face-off, I really think when Power gets a step on Bolduc, he has to help out, respect that shot, and you tip your cap. It's a pass to Darlene. How many players in the league, in the world, can one-time that top-shelf short side like Darlene? Tip your cap, Montreal. It's a great goal.
Okay, Ron, you mentioned the Johnny Gaudreau goal. Where was it? High, short side, right? And so I've noticed some tendencies here in tonight's game where it looks to me like the Sabres are trying to go high, short side. They fanned on this one, but you're going to get a look here. There's a number of them where they're going high, short side on Dobush, and so far they haven't been able to capitalize until the game-tying goal. That's a terrific release, so by Darlene. There's nothing Dobush can have done on that differently because there's other mistakes in front, but it seems like it could be one of the ways that they're going to score.
Sticking on the theme, set face-offs and having a play. How about Josh Anderson? You see, dusted him, eh? Wins the race up ice. I guess if you want to just beat everyone up ice, just do a high flip and send it over everyone and let your speed just go to work. He almost ends this game with 3 minutes left. What a nice feather by Lane Hudson. Anderson cuts through both of them. Power as well. Yeah. That's a really good save by UPL. But look at this. Number 17 just takes off, splits the D. Almost ends the game right there for the Montreal Canadiens. Look for more of that. This is what Montreal is going to be trying here. Forcing the play, pushing the pace.
I didn't realize there's power. That's even more incredible.
I know, right?
It's just wild. So the tit for tat. Let's go look at the poked in one and then the Zucker running over the goalie.
Okay, well, this one to me, it seemed no question that there's a whistle blown. I don't think that puck was going to leak through. It was poked at from the player on Buffalo, so to me that was the right call. And then the Zucker that he's going to hit Dobush. I was with Craig. Originally, I was like, there's for sure that is goalie interference, some sort of penalty, roughing, whatever you want to call it, until I watched it a few times and I was like, you know what? Dobush is really embellishing that. That looks like me back in the 80s, just flopping. It's a big enough hit, but I think that the referees were like,
watch this,
no.
O'Kel. Watch this. No embellishment here. Smack.
Make sure he's not looking.
That's awesome.
That's what my dad used to do to me when I was a kid, and I deserved it.
Speaking of slapstick, David, Elliott, let's get it to you.
All right. Hey, Ron, you mentioned Goo Goo Dolls. I'll throw out Rick James. He's from Buffalo.
That's a good pick.
The ultimate super freak right here, Elliot Friedman. Elliot, you
By the way, I've been asking these fans. We're right above a totally Sabres section. I've been asking these fans, are they confident? They're very confident. Very confident.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. You were the Buffalo, by the way. They're 1-6 all time in Game 7s. You were at their one win.
Yes, that was Derek Plant. 1997, this was a 2-2 overtime game just off the glove of Ron Tugnutt. And I remember I was actually watching at the end near some Senators fans who made the trip down, and as that puck just dribbled off of Tugnutt's glove, they were in agony. I felt so terrible.
So that was almost, what, 30 years ago?
Yeah, Lindy Ruff has not won a Game 7 as a Sabre.
Meanwhile, for Montreal, of course, they all remember last series. They had a Game 7. Alex Newhook scored the game. It wasn't in overtime, but it was the game winner. Any expectations here as we move towards overtime?
Well, look, you were talking about unsung heroes, and this was Newhook, the Game 7 winner in Tampa. This was not overtime. They were talking about stars scoring here. I go with Jake Evans' pick at the beginning of the night, or the beginning of the day, Nick Suzuki for Montreal. That's my guy.
Yeah, it's going to be a great moment for someone. By the way, this has been a pleasure to cover this series. Montreal, we all know how great the scene is there. Buffalo's an interesting scene, too, because everyone's got the sweaters. Everyone has Sabre sweaters, but it's not just from this team. It's from every era.
The stuff I've seen here, David Legwand, you saw Thomas Vanek, very popular Sabre. That's Jerry King Korab. That's a great one. There's a lot of Lindy Ruff. There's been some French connection. Dominic Hasek. There's Hasek again. Tonight, there's Pat LaFontaine. Tonight, I've seen Casey Middlestat. There's Tim Connolly. There's a Chris Drury here tonight. Bob Essence, I sent that to him. He said it's the one Sabre shirt that was ever sold with my name on it. Andrew Peters, Patrick Coletta, and Nathan Gerby. Tyler Myers. There's a Jack Eichel in here tonight. Don Luce. That's a great one. There's a Jay McKee right below me. And tonight I saw one I never thought I would see. Ville Leno. I saw that
On one.
Great showing. by
Yeah,
the Sabres.
two great hockey markets. Thankfully, one of them will be moving on to the Eastern Conference final round.
Really good, you two. Okay, here's guys who have scored in overtime for these two teams. Anderson has 2. Suzuki, Slavkovsky, and Hudson for Montreal. Tuck and Zucker each have scored for Buffalo in history. Who you taking?
Well, we saw Big Aaron McGrattan also on the camera.
Yeah,
he
right.
wasn't wearing a
Salient.
jersey, but he was there. I got Matheson. He's looked really good tonight. And then on Buffalo, I like Benson. I just think he's looking to lift sticks on every forecheck.
Buffalo, I'm going to go Jack Quinn. He's been really heating up in the series. And I'm torn between your guy, Josh Anderson, and Newhook. I'm going to go Newhook.
Okay, I'm going with the unsung hero, Montreal, Jake Evans. And give me Calgary, Alberta's Peyton Krebs on the Buffalo side.
Who's been quiet in the series.
He's gone.
And I would say you should see the car. Brian, do you have the car that he came in? Truck.
Yeah.
It's actually
That was amazing.
Yeah, watch this. I was saying to Kelly, Madison,
'Cause he
Peyton's
pulled up in
sister,
this
is a
thing.
star down in Nashville. And he's done some country singing with her, but yeah, there's the Chevy he arrived in today.
That hot rod.
That's a game
That
winner.
is amazing.
That's a game winner.
So I will go Zucker for Buffalo, like Newhook. No shots in the game, so it's probably a little bit of pressure on him. And I say Cole Caulfield. This is his moment, superstar.
Yes, great.
All right, short break. We'll come back with overtime. What a drama tonight at KeyBank Center. Back to Chris, Craig, and Kyle after this.
Get this, switching your home and auto insurance to Allstate could save you over $1,100. But what exactly does that feel like? Yes! Combine your home and auto insurance and you could save more than $1,100.
The GMC Sierra Pro Graphite brings V8 power, off-road suspension, and clearance that doesn't back down. 3 features that mean business in one complete truck.
Only few play hockey the hard way, the selfless way, the Canadian way. They are the real ones, and they drink a real good beer. Real ones know. Sleeman, proud partner of Hockey Canada.
At Cal Tire, we help you save big with free rotations, our price match guarantee, 0% financing, and free flat repairs. We've got you covered, corner to corner, coast to coast.
$3,995 a month. That's what it costs to lease a John Deere 210V excavator from Brandt. Maximize your earning potential. Minimize your investment. Select in-stock units only. Bank on Brandt.
In Pokemon Pokopia, you see a place you can call home. You recognize the potential to rebuild, nurture, and grow something wonderful. Not just for you, but for all your Pokemon friends who are eager to lend a hand or a green thumb. So make this place feel alive again. Because home is what you put your heart into. Pokemon Pokopia, only on Nintendo Switch 2.
Funny story.
Ow! What was that?
The Earthlings are playing soccer again, and one of them drank a Red Bull.
This overtime is brought to you by Subway's new Wannabe Spicy Menu. 3 different heat levels, from mild to wild to wicked. How spicy do you want to be at Subway?
Here we go for the first time in this series. Overtime, and Canadiens, Craig, have essentially been playing 5 defensemen.
Well, you look at Arbor-Xhekaj, he had an 8-second shift in that second period. That's it. So you've got 5 defensemen that you've got to manage, but it's the same on the other side. The key is, where does the fatigue grab you? You look at just 325 with Zach Metsa playing his second playoff game of his career. I always say you got to take advantage of a defenseman, get him, especially in this second period scenario with the long change, who can continue through. Nobody has played more average-wise than 25-36 of Lane Hudson. Seems to be able to handle it, but there's no question as this drags on, fatigue for the back end can become a factor.
Well, it's been a Game 7 classic. Who wins it? Will it be Olay or au revoir for the Montreal Canadiens with Carolina waiting? Benson out along with Norris and Thompson. Slavkovsky, Suzuki, and Caulfield.
Suzuki unable to handle that pass. Benson comes back in, tried to drop it. Lost there, and the first shot stopped by Dobish as Benson gets an early look. Remarkably, in the glorious history of the Montreal Canadiens, they've never won a Game 7 overtime on the road. Demidov's come on, able to poke that back to Hudson. And here's Demidov with a shot, and he missed the target. Dobson moves up, it's played past him. Hudson gets back in a hurry. Out at center, Samuelson drops it back in. McLeod on the forecheck as it's played to Noah Dobson. Be a pretty good spot for his first ever Stanley Cup playoff goal. Newhook along the boards. Alex Tuch looking to get on the board for the first time in the series. Back to Byram. That bounces up ahead, a swing and a miss by Evans, but now he'll drop it back in. Canadiens 2-2 in overtime. Buffalo 0-1. Helenius is in. Here's Quinn along the boards, and he's knocked down. Suzuki around. Suzuki double duty here as he centers Bolduc and Doc on the fourth line. Carrier ahead, Gouli sends it into Buffalo territory. Off the boards and back out. Jason Zucker with Quinn. And now Krebs has come on. And play called at the Buffalo line. Well, the first chance of the overtime goes to number 6. And Benson just on the turnover there. Good little pass across by Norris. No hesitation. Tried to get the one-timer there before Dobish got set. Didn't quite find his mark, but as he has been so dangerous, he's had a tremendous playoff, and he's the only good chance in the first 208. Shot attempts are 80-50 in the game in favor of Buffalo. Canadiens had a 2-goal lead, and the Sabres have erased it. And now into last shot wins. Anderson tied up along the boards. Denowian looking to pry it out and does. Gets it back to Mike Matheson on his backhand. Digging in. Tried to center it, and that was scooped up by Timmins and flipped away by Greenway. Malenstein got a stick on it and now gets to the bench. Fourth line off for Buffalo. Noah Dobson back in for Montreal. That took a funny hop in front. There's a stanchion bounce. Wow. Wouldn't that have been something? Knocked off the stick of Benson. Thompson overskates it. It's one of the rare times that fourth line for Buffalo hasn't gone up against the Suzuki line. They've given the Suzuki line all kinds of trouble. Now it's Thompson and Norris. See if that makes a difference. Caulfield ties up his man along the boards. It comes to Gouli. Back to Caulfield, who came out with a little bit of a swagger for overtime. Slavkovsky along the boards. He lost it. Away goes Benson. Benson for Norris, stumbling. And Gouli there to try and take over. Lane Hudson's got an overtime goal. Look at that battle for Gouli. It's like it's the most important battle you ever have. Every opportunity, you just got to try to do whatever you can. It might be your last one, so it's evident, isn't it? Off Evans sticking in. Alex Newhook after it. Does he have one more goal in this series? He leads with 5. Across for Carrier. Carrier shooting, and it's tipped wide of the net. Evans throws it in front. A broken stick. And so Tuch without a stick. See if Matheson can take advantage. Tuch trying to stay with him. Stumbles over the stick, and it's blocked and comes out to center. Matheson right back in. Following up Evans. Here is Newhook sending it wide. Jack Quinn is on it. Trying to send away Josh Doan, and icing called. And the linesmen in the stands disagree.
But Evans had inside position. Well, you remember the big stanchion goal by Thompson off in Montreal. There's one that just great awareness by Luukkonen, Nod, and Tuck. You know, the worst thing, easy break of his stick there, so just try to not get too isolated, but he does a heck of a job. How about kick save and a beauty there with his right foot. Well done. First goal in regulation time has come in each game at least under 6.5 minutes in. Do we get that far in overtime? We might be here a while. Is that what you're saying? Wondering if we get another quick strike. Quinn checked by Hudson. Gave it away. Helenius. He held up thinking it might be offside, but it isn't. Back to the line. Connor Timmins and Dobish makes the stop, and it hits the mesh up behind the Montreal net. You talk about IQ for Helenius, and he's continuing to play a regular role, and he does a great job here. It's going to be offside on the turnover, but he takes his stick off the puck, and so he waits. If he had carried that over, it would have been a quick whistle. Instead, you get one shot and a chance, and that's all it takes at this point. Is any shot is a dangerous one. And he's over 15 minutes now tonight. He's played well again, hasn't he? Norris and Deneau dueling, a clean Montreal win, and it's flipped out to center. Can they spring Josh Anderson a third time in this game? Back in comes Norris. Crisscrossing here with Thompson. Breaks his stick. He's got to head to the bench. Gives Carrier some room. Thompson with a quick retrieval, but it's Josh Anderson setting it just wide. Back for Anderson, and along the boards, Texier. Takes a bump, but stays with it. Anderson again, and that went off the knob of the stick, I think, of Luukkonen. Here's Dobson. Throwing that toward the net and played into the corner off Luukkonen. Texier reloads. Matheson again. Deneau goes off. Norris, a big pass. Thompson's got a break with Benson. Tage Thompson for the win. And he couldn't get it past Dobish, who's down without a stick. It'll come back to Connor Timmins, and that deflects out. And Dobish breathes a sigh of relief. Oh, man. Well, we've seen Anderson on the two breakaways, and he hasn't been able to get anything done. Better play here, just traffic going to the net. A shot on the short side, just off the side of the net post there. Another one, why not? There it is. Oh, off the post on the other side. Jeez. Good chances, and now on a little bit of a bad change. How about the patience of Thompson? Curl and drag. He's got Evans all over him. Tries to bank it back off. Look at that left pad, though, of Dobish. He kept that anchored, so nothing could slide underneath. Some anxious moments, but nothing on goal. The 271s, McLeod and Evans duel. And McLeod on the puck. There's Tuck, comes out in front. Tapped by Dobish to Hudson, who flips it away. Connor Timmins strides back. Not enough for icing. Alex Tuck to work again. Galloping through center. Tried to pass it across, and nobody there. Picked up now by McLeod, taken away by Suzuki. Gloved down by Doan. Dooley's got a little room. Rasmus Dahlin. Back ahead, Zucker. McLeod sends that, blocked by Gooley. Dahlin follows. Dahlin shot blocked. And all the way back into the Sabre zone. Luukkonen sends that around. Caulfield trying to hop on it. Byram and Dahlin playing together. They're in the skates of Helenius, and following up, it's knocked away from Quinn and played back to the Buffalo line. Shots are 35-24 Sabres. Flipped in by Quinn. Dobson around for Matheson. And deflected out by Caulfield, and not enough for icing, enough for a Montreal change. Russ drops it in, goes to the bench as Buffalo sends out fresh skaters. Slavkovsky tied up. Malenstein on the ice as Dobish plays it around for Carrier. That fourth line for Buffalo. Back on the ice as it rolls towards Luukkonen. Up at center for Greenway. Carrier stepped up on him. Here's Evans working in. Jake Evans off a skate for Bolduc. So Evans gets a double shift here with Bolduc and Doc. As they've been playing pretty well 11 forwards now for the last 2 periods.
Yeah, rotating in right on that fourth line. You saw Suzuki for a while, and then Slavkovsky, then Evans. So just trying to share the responsibility. And icing in overtime. The attention has to be defensively. Who do you got? What rotation will you have defensively if you lose?
Off the draw, control for Buffalo. Russ Courtnall, Claude Lemieux, Yvon Lambert have scored Game 7 overtime goals for Montreal. Derek Plant for the Sabres. And we await the hero tonight in Game 7. Carolina might have to wait another day to find out the way it's going. Could get to midnight here.
I know the coaches who are clipping video segments are watching.
Face-off win. Hudson with the puck. Lane Hudson trying to shake the checking of Krebs. Sends it off the inboards. Anderson. Texier. Texier along the boards. Timmins takes it away. Plays it for Samuelson. So that's a pairing adjustment by Lindy Ruff.
There are 2 there, a minute 30.
Hudson was in deep. Now Anderson centers off Timmins in front. And he'll knock it away. Is that going to be icing? It's rolling, and they're going to wave it. Hudson tried his best to look like he was in quicksand. There's Slavkovsky, and overtime hero already in the playoffs, firing that on goal. And now 3 Sabres break out. With speed, it's Norris. Josh Norris hands it off. Thompson, that hit a skate. Now the Canadiens will try and turn it. Caulfield's at center. He'll just play it down, and that starts a Montreal change. Rink wide for Benson. Benson in against Carrier. Cut to the middle. And Carrier able to recover off the boards and out. Down that left flank, here is Demidov again. Is he the game breaker tonight? Dobson moves up. Behind the net, it's Newhook. Watched by Dahlin. Free for Evans. Anybody home in front? Demidov, and that hit a skate and ends up in the corner. Alex Tuck sends it to center. Gloved down, brought right back in by Dobson. Pocket picked. And now sent ahead. Doan trying to get loose, and Dobish will spin that into the corner. Doan there again, but Matheson's there as well. Turns away from Doan. Doan still hounding him as it comes to center. Texier trying to get it to Evans. Owen Power. Here come the Sabres again. It's Helenius setting it high. Around it goes, and it comes out. Texier let it go, and that's going to be icing. And so Montreal will not be able to change.
The only break for Texier there is that it's a mandatory scrape here in overtime after the 10 minutes. Here's the highlights of your first 10 minutes. It's Benson on a turnover just inside the line, gets a good hard shot. Dobish comes out, able to close the gap. Anderson has had a lot of looks around the net. One post on the right side. Why not follow it up on the left? Post right up in that corner there as he gets some chances. Thompson trying to hold on as he's getting knocked from behind, tries to bank it in, unable to. And at the other end, a little saucer to the middle. Demidov unable to get that one through. Great defending in front, again, blocking those shots to the Buffalo net. I mentioned about that icing. That's a strange play, isn't it, to Texier not to touch that puck. He let it go by, and so you get an icing, so an offensive zone face-off after the break. You won't have tired bodies, but you give the Buffalo Sabres the offensive face-off when you really didn't need to.
And you're right, that led to a tying goal tonight. You look at their top two face-off men, Norris 15-8, and McLeod 11-5. So who does Lindy Ruff send out in this critical situation?
Well, here's the play for Texier. Like, just touch it. And he kind of casually lets it go, and that's the right call. Even if it hops over his stick, it's an icing. But he had a chance easily to touch it. Kind of, you know, fatigue will do that to you. You kind of lose your mind for a second.
Phil Deneau's 14-11. He'll go up against Josh Norris. And off the draw, Buffalo controls. Dahlin shooting, vacuumed up confidently by Dobish.
Yeah, really important for Dobish. Don't give any second chances. Now you're able to make the change for Marty St. Louis. Good winger win there as Benson gets it back. Good box out in front, though, is Benson, who does get to the net pretty frequently there. Matheson able to keep him to the outside and allow that easy save by Dobish.
So now Jake Evans comes on to take the face-off. Norris stays out. And off this, a winger win for Thompson. Into the corner it goes. Matheson battles. And now a shot on, and Dobish has that.
I mean, the shots tell the story, Chris, and you said the attempts are so skewed, but this is another example of don't try anything cute. Just throw the puck. Look at the bodies in front of Dobish trying to find that through the crowd. You got Evans, who's got his centerman right in front, and that was a good, smart play by Thompson to just throw it there.
Up to 90 shot attempts now for Buffalo. 4 shots on goal, 10 shot attempts by Tage Thompson in the game. And that breakaway chance in overtime. That came close to the line, and now Montreal's going to work it out. Carrier ahead. Over the line comes Newhook. Shooting. Scores! Alex Newhook! Olé! 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 And Montreal is going to play Carolina in the Eastern Conference Final.
Playoffs are all about writing amazing stories, and Alex Newhook's been there before. He's won it. You see the frustration of Luukkonen, but what a playoff series. 7th goal. Scored the game winner in Tampa, and just a turnover at the offensive line. A smart play here by Carrier, and they said never a bad thing. Shoot the puck through the traffic, through the legs of Dahlin, and Luukkonen can't get a hold of it. Underneath the glove, over the pad. Best sound in the world as it hits the post and goes in. And in back-to-back game sevens, it's Alex Newhook with the game-winning goal. What a story.
Game 7 in Tampa, regulation time. He does one better tonight in overtime. Game 7, round 2. And Newhook finishes this series with a series leading 6 goals. Dahlin brilliant in defeat for Buffalo.
And don't forget Dobish. All the talk about, okay, he's never played so many games in a row. You get pulled in the 3rd period on home ice. That's got to hurt your confidence maybe. Well, no, and he hung in there. You give up a 2-goal lead. Buffalo fought valiantly to come back, but Dobish once again follows Ken Dryden's footsteps as the only Montreal Canadien rookie goaltender to win 2 Game 7s in the same playoff year. Unreal.
In the year that they wear 29
Isn't that incredible?
on their uniforms, he made 37 stops in the game on a hard-fought series, and they saved the best for last. This was one of the great Game 7s.
Well, on two teams that kind of parallel each other, don't they? Trying to learn how to win in the playoffs. Buffalo, the 14 years this city didn't have a playoff run. They get to the second round and just fall one shot short. But these Montreal Canadiens pushed to 7 against an experienced Tampa team, won 7 one-goal games, and here pushed to the brink again and win another one-goaler. Amazing.
Nice gesture by the fans. The Let's Go Buffalo chant, reminiscent and louder even than what the Flyer fans gave their team as a send-off. These two teams are going to probably get to know each other a lot over the next few years in the postseason.
The landscape of the Atlantic has changed quite a bit, hasn't it? You know, these Buffalo Sabres won the division. Montreal and Tampa 106 each, and the fans, rightfully so, giving these Sabres a whole lot of respect for what they've done.
Marty St. Louis, your guys bounce forward tonight. And what a roar by the Sabre fans for their team that is a factor in the NHL and the Stanley Cup playoffs again. Let's head down to ice level. Here's Kyle.
Jakob, you're starting to make a bit of history here, and you're looking a little more comfortable in these Game 7s. How would you describe your emotions after tonight?
Obviously, hell of a team on the other side. I mean, they were really good today, and we just got luckier. As I said last time, we got to stay humble, and the test is going to get harder. We have Carolina. They're a hell of a team too, so we'll enjoy this tonight, but we got to reset.
As you went through your mental preparation last night before today, did any part of your visions include overtime in Game 7?
I mean, a lot of things go through my head, especially I try to check every box, and obviously OT was one of them, and my mindset was just telling myself, not now, not this time, they won't score, nope. And that was just my mentality for, I don't even know how many minutes, so yeah.
I just wonder for you, it's been 14 incredibly grueling games through the playoffs to this point. How are you holding up?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I can play 40 more.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
How do you feel about getting to a conference final for the first time?
Well, I'm still a rookie, so we'll reset, we'll go back home, and you know, we learn our lesson Game 1 against these guys. We didn't show up Game 1, so our whole focus is to enjoy tonight and come hungry for Game 1, because that's a good team and every game matters from now on.
Congratulations, thank you. Chris.
Boy, what a performance, what a story he's writing. Dobish and Newhook are kind of dueling as Montreal Canadian MVPs through 2 rounds. What a night. And the finish provided by Alex Newhook for the 2nd consecutive Game 7. By the way, they're advancing against a team that has not lost in the playoffs, but they're advancing against a team that they swept in the regular season. What a game it was, and a Game 7. Canadiens win. Ron?
Great job, Chris. Craig, thank you kindly. Kyle will be in and out with more interviews from down at KeyBank, and that's the scene in Montreal. Spaceship landed and you were trying to explain what hockey is and where the Stanley Cup was won first and won most, that would be the picture you would show them, and they would understand why we're so nuts about this whole thing. Kelly, I would love your comment on Dobish's interview after.
Just, I think you said it, very mature for a guy that, like he said, we've said it a number of times, he's very emotional, and you wouldn't know it. Like, I mean, I would just think that at that young age, you might say something wrong or, you know, maybe not so complimentary towards the other team, and yet he nails it every single time in the spur of the moment. Because I've always said, you are in trouble when you're getting interviewed less than 10 minutes after a game, right? Because you're really
defiance,
raw.
your anger.
Yes, all that kind of stuff. And so we have not seen that for him. That just tells you about how he is raised and all that kind of stuff.
I love his awareness of knowing we didn't have a good game one in this series, and it went to 7, so every game matters. Just the fact that he was aware of that was pretty cool. And the second thing I liked is when Kyle said, "How you feeling? Are you tired?" And he goes, "I could play 4." Like I believed it, because remember that skill I have about knowing when someone's disingenuous? I believed him.
Not this time, he says. That was my favorite line. He said, they're just not going to score this time. Nope, not this time. Confident kid. I absolutely love it.
Mike Weir, the golfer, when he won the Masters, he had a 7-footer to tie to go into a playoff with Len Matisse. And he stood over the ball and he said, "It is not going to freaking end this way." And he put a firm roll on an uphill putt. It's not easy under pressure.
Yeah, I know.
Dobish, yeah, you're right. There was just no defiance, no spit in his... I mean, he is like innocent. It's beautiful to watch. So let's look at the goal. Newhook, by the way, forward bounce. Say what you will. That's a rolling puck. Newhook takes a forward bouncing puck. It's weird. That's a physics again.
I just think that this goal ends on a counterpunch. So Buffalo with zone time and making plays and you know, not going to pick on somebody, but a turnover. And all of a sudden, they get their chance, and it's a middle lane drive by Evans, which factors into this goal, makes it hard for Luukkonen to pick it up. And watch, just as Newhook goes to shoot, watch the puck roll up. It rolls up, it's rolling there, and the reason that's so significant, see it rolling now, it's on its side, these pucks typically rise. These wristers rise, so Luukkonen is expecting that to rise up to his glove. It's on its edge, so it actually dips, and that factors into the goal. The middle lane drive, the shot, the rolling puck, you feel so bad for Buffalo. The youngest team in the league, you said, Luke? You feel
second
bad.
youngest. So Buffalo's third youngest, Montreal's second youngest.
But you feel very happy for Montreal.
You know who's very happy right now? Alex Texier. Doesn't get the stick on the icing. It goes back into their own D zone. They had 3 straight draws that Buffalo had a plan for every time. With Thompson rolling around the top, they were looking for Byram on the one-timer, and they got out of there 3 times. Like, if that goes in the back of their net, I think that's a bit of a different story.
One more thing about Newhook, like he's really struggled because he's not a big household name, right? But with this goal, he's really struggled to get a really good host for his golf tournament in the summer. So now, I bet you he can pick and choose and actually get someone really good to raise more money and do a better job.
George Street is celebrating tonight, though. I'll tell you that. Green sleeves, martini bar, Shamrock City, confusions. Have fun
Christian
tonight.
still exists. That used to be one of the ones I used to go to, but for sure, green sleeves. Alan Doyle just finished his tour in Seattle the other day. His birthday was yesterday, so Alan, I know you're extremely happy too over there in St. John's. Listen, that's what we have for you. Carolina will start Wednesday with the Vegas-Colorado series. And as mentioned, Jake Allen will come in for the first 2 shows of the conference finals. And then Thursday, it's an 8 o'clock ET start. We'll have a half-hour pre-show, of course, on Hockey Central. We're going to do a panel hit. That's how we'll do that. So Sportsnet extended coverage, CBC, The National coming up. For all of us, thanks for watching, and so long.